That was 1 minute to airtime. This is the Motor Racing Network counting down to today's broadcast. Your next time check will be 45 seconds to airtime. Stand by for your 45-second time check. That was 45 seconds to airtime. Your next time check will be 30 seconds to airtime. Today's feed is also available on the Motor Racing Network's private frequency at the Speedway. The Motor Racing Network may not be held responsible for conversations overheard by monitoring this frequency. That was 30 seconds to airtime. This is the Motor Racing Network counting down to today's broadcast. Your next time check will be 15 seconds to airtime. Stand by for your 10-second time check.
Live on the Motor Racing Network, it's the NASCAR Cup Series.
Let's get a big thumbs up. Get ready to rock and roll past the race cars today, pal. Oh boys, let's execute. Have a good day.
Today, practice and pole qualifying for the Cookout 400 from Martinsville Speedway. Presented on MRN by E3 Spark Plugs. Powerful and fuel efficient. Find E3 at your nearest auto parts store.
We welcome you to the Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. Motor Racing Network live and on the air with practice and pole qualifying for the Cookout 400. Mike Bagley alongside Alex Hayden, Steve Post, Chris Wilner, along with us as well on today's broadcast. For the first time in 2026, Alex, it's time to pay points on a short track, and there's nothing like the most legendary short track of them all.
Started in 1947, September of 47, as a matter of fact. Martinsville Speedway. It's shaped like a paper clip. Long straightaways, tight corners down here. There is very minimal banking in the turns, but one of the most unique aspects of this entire circuit, Mike, is the fact that the lower 2.5 lanes of each set of turns is concrete. Everything else, the outer 2.5 lanes, the straightaways, are asphalt, and that's always been a challenge for these teams. Get the car to grip that concrete up off of turn 2 and up off of turn 4 for the run down these ultra-long straightaways for a short track. That's much easier said than done. We've been coming here a long, long time, and it's still a mystery for a lot of teams.
You talk about the challenging of the concrete. What about the challenging of the curbing that lines the inside? Those curbs are about 6 inches tall. They're painted in black. Our friends at Yellowwood punctuate the livery that are in the inside portion of those corners. But you deal with concrete, you deal with curbing. You know, Martinsville Speedway, Alex, looks very unassuming, but there are a lot of things that goes into making a successful car here at this racetrack.
Yeah, there is. And with the transaxle these Gen 7 cars have, you have 5 gears at your disposal. And for the first time here in this Gen 7 era, we have extra horsepower here at the Martinsville Speedway. And we'll find out how that plays out. As a matter of fact, why don't we go pit lane right now and hear from one of those drivers that's going to be practicing very soon. That driver is with Chris Wilner from Carmel, Indiana.
And Alex, that's Ryan Blaney, who's won twice in the fall. So as this Group 1 gets going, Ryan, of course, the fall race is so different from the spring. What are you watching for in Group 1 with the new horsepower and just kind of what we're going to learn today?
Yeah, you know, it rained a lot here last night, so track is zero rubber on it. So I'm not really going to learn much in the first handful of minutes until a little bit of rubber gets laid down. So I'm just kind of spectating right now. Once they get about 5-6 minutes in, I'll probably start looking at lap times, lines, see how the track rubbers, just to try to get an idea of what the track might look like for our group and, you know, start of the race come tomorrow. So this place changes a ton. We're out of practice run or a race run. That it's always important of kind of looking at how does it end as opposed to how it starts.
You've been so good here. We've talked about it. What do you look for in your race car? The turning ability, corner exit, all of it.
Yeah, I've always been somebody who I just want to roll really fast through the corner. If I'm a little bit free on exit, that's okay. I can kind of deal with that. But if I can roll fast, that's kind of where you can gain your time. And I've always felt like the more you roll through the corner, that's less time you're on the throttle, right? So it also kind of helps rear tire wear and stuff like that. So, but then you can't be too free because then you're wearing them out on Linktree. So it's always a fine line here. But I've personally been someone I want my car to turn really good, and hopefully we can find that.
appreciate your time. Ryan's going to get plugged back in, watching all the data here in group number 1. But hard not to talk about Ryan Blaney here at Martinsville. He's been so good over the years, and certainly will be a lot one to watch here this weekend at the Paperclip.
Ryan Blaney has won 2 of the last 5 races here at the Martinsville Speedway. He mentions that he's in Group 2. He does have a teammate that's in Group 1 in Joey Logano, but Joey's not taken to the racetrack yet. Joey, one of 19 drivers that are a part of Group 1 that are on the racetrack or about to enter the racetrack right now.
Including Austin Hill driving another Richard Childress Racing Chevrolet here this weekend. Austin Hill, Cody Ware, Riley Herbst, Ty Dillon, Cole Custer, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the aforementioned Joey Logano, Justin Allgaier back behind the wheel of the 48 car for Hendrick Motorsports as Alex Bowman continues his battle getting over the vertigo symptoms, and Noah Gregson among others.
John Hunter Nemechek, a part of that list, along with A.J. Allmendinger, Kyle Larson, Austin Dillon, Todd Gilliland, Bubba Wallace, Connor Zillage, Kyle Busch, Josh Berry, and Zane Smith are the 19 cars a part of Group 1. As we look out onto the backstretch, Joey Logano taking the Shell Pennzoil Ford Mustang onto the racetrack. And Alex, he's in Group 1 because of the challenges that he and his team faced last weekend at Darlington Raceway.
Yeah, they had we'll call it just a bad race from start to finish. They just didn't have good speed in the race car, struggled getting the car to handle in the tough old Darlington Raceway, and to have a bad one, at least you had it early in the season. No doubt he and Paul Wolf and everybody on that team has gone back to the Team Penske shops this week, debriefed and kind of looked back on it. They'll post-mortem meeting, if you will, and try to figure out exactly what was off on the race car throughout that weekend. This is another week. It's a completely different style of racetrack, one Joey has won at in his career here at Martinsville Speedway. So this is an opportunity to try to put last week in the mirror and worry about that next time you go to Darlington Labor Day weekend.
Joey is about to complete his first lap up to speed here at Martinsville. Let's see where he's at. Here he comes out of turn number 4, and he'll cross the start-finish line. Matter of fact, Joey will complete his second green flag lap, and he is last of the 19 cars. He right now is about a second and 1.2 seconds behind the fast car right now of Todd Gilliland. We checked in with Chris Wilner a moment ago. Steve Post from Halstead, Pennsylvania as well, patrolling the pits in the garage. Steve, what do you see in front of you?
What I see, we first off started this morning with a very cold morning, and that's what some of the teams, some of the crew chiefs have talked about, what we're going to learn here today. It is significantly colder than it has been across the last few weeks, actually, here in the area. And what we're going to do, we've talked about those softer tires. Are they going to put rubber down in the racetrack? Conventional wisdom down here is probably not for this qualifying and practice session. Maybe tomorrow afternoon it's supposed to be a little warmer at will. So what does that mean for this practice and qualifying session? Some crew chiefs have said not much. We're just going to learn what the balance of the car is and what the car does and try to get set up for a good qualifying lap, because pit road positioning and a good up front starting spot matters. Others, they might want to do a long run just to see what they can learn about the fall off in speed on the tires. And the other thing they want to do is burn as much fuel out of these cars. They have to start with the car full of fuel. Less fuel in the car for a qualifying lap allows you to shift things around on the balance and just make things a little bit better for you. So a lot of little subtle things going on, but a lot of uncertainty as far as what we learn in this practice session will be applied to tomorrow afternoon's race. And right now they're just logging a lot of laps, burning some fuel off in these cars and trying to get a sense on what the balance and what the tires are going to do over the course of a longer run.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate that report from pit road. Of course, that taps into what Ryan Blaney was talking about as far as it rained a lot overnight, and there is a big temperature swing that we have experienced so far this Martinsville this weekend. Alex, when we got to the racetrack yesterday, the temperature was tickling 90 degrees. The wind chill is not even in the mid-40s right now here. The cold front has pushed through, and that has cooled us off big time. Yeah,
you're right, and it came in like a gangbuster last night. A lot of rain, a lot of heavy wind, as you pointed out last night, forced the postponement of the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour race from last night to tonight. That's how much rain was falling yesterday evening. Track trying team did yeoman's work. Obviously, you wake up, beautiful, brilliant Virginia sunshine. but there is a nip in the air here today.
Indeed, there's a lot of it in the air today. Now, let's also give props to the operations crew here at the Martinsville Speedway and with NASCAR. We were to have run the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour Virginia is for Racing Lovers 200 last night. That, unfortunately, has been postponed until tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You'll hear that on the Motor Racing Network. So what we had were NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series cars and Wheel and Modified Tour cars in the infield, plus the Modified Tour haulers. Well, that postponement forced everybody to basically go to plans B, C, and D. They had to pull the modified haulers out. They brought the Cup haulers in, and they're in the infield in front of us. But they left the tour cars behind pit wall on the turn one end behind the pit lane, while at the same time putting O'Reilly Auto Parts cars on the pit lane, Cup cars in their garage stalls. We basically were moving a lot of equipment around this property last night in the rain and in the cold of the night.
Like a Rubik's Cube. It's essentially what's going on. I mean, you got to move this group over here to get this one over here. And all the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour haulers now are parked nose to tailgate out on the main road coming down the hill. If you've ever been to Martinsville Speedway, you know what I'm about to say. If you've never been here, look at it like this. Come up off of US 220, Highway 220. You got to cut through some houses. Not necessarily a neighborhood, but there's just houses on the hillside. Drive down the hill, and there is the half-mile paperclip track of Martinsville Speedway. And all those NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour haulers are lined up on that main road down there. It is quite the puzzle that we have here, and I echo what you said. Congratulations and big props to everybody here at the racetrack and the operations team to make it all happen. You know, I want to go back to something Ryan Blaney said just a moment ago when Chris was interviewing him. He said the first 5 or so minutes of this practice session doesn't mean much. After that, then it's really time to start paying attention. And that's because having to put rubber down on the racetrack, looking over in turns 3 and 4 off to our left here, it's really beginning to darken up where those right side Goodyear tires are digging down into that concrete.
And that's a welcome sight to see, and that's what a lot of teams in Group 2 want to see out of those that are doing the heavy lifting now in Group 1. Want to update you on Joey Logano. He was 19th. Now he's 9th on the leaderboard. The fastest car in practice so far belongs to, surprise, surprise, 2311 Racing. Bubba Wallace is the fastest of the 19 that have taken time so far.
Yeah, and Bubba Wallace leaping to the top of the leaderboard. He was a little bit later of the cars that elected to come out. To Ryan Blaney's point, didn't see a benefit in getting out there right off the bat and just kind of making some laps, other than a lot of these teams are trying to burn some of the fuel off out of the fuel tank for later on when it's time to go qualifying here in just a bit.
You know what's interesting, Alex? We come into this race weekend. Normally we have a solid short list of drivers that we feel are going to be factors coming in. But there are some unknowns. Not necessarily as many unknowns this weekend at Martinsville like we had at Darlington. But when you look at the mix of drivers that have had successes in the early part of the season, we've been talking a lot about 2311 Racing and Tyler Reddick. He's yet to finish in the top 5 in a Cup race in 12 Cup starts here at Martinsville. We talk about the dominance of Hendrick at Martinsville. Well, they've not had success so far in the first 6 races of 2026. Denny Hamlin, well, what can he do? He's only won 1 race here in the last, since 2015, the last 11 years or so. It's been very hard to come up with a list of drivers that we feel will absolutely be factors. A lot of importance is being placed on this practice session this morning.
You mentioned Joey Logano. It's unusual he being in Group 1. It's based off of how they finished last week at Darlington Raceway. We've got some champions in Group 1. Kyle Busch is in this. Kyle Larson is also in Group 1 here based off of their problems that they had a week ago at the Darlington Raceway. So there are 3 Cup Series champions here in Group 1, but Kyle Larson, 6th or better in 7 straight Martinsville races here, including a win back in April of 2023. So you've got some horsepower, if you will, here in this first group. As we work here, just about halfway through, Bubba Wallace, Todd Gilliland, and Connor Zilic, the Fast 3 on single lap speeds. From Martinsville Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-212-2828. 800-212-2828. That's 800-212-2828.
When you devour Jack Links, the official real meat protein snack of NASCAR, you could win twice. First, because real meat protein can help boost your libido.
Hey, I've noticed you've boosted your libido.
Thank you for noticing.
And second, because you can enter the Jack Links Eat, Meet, and Win sweepstakes for a chance to win 4 epic NASCAR getaways, tickets, and more at jacklinks.com/NASCAR. Libido boost and people noticing your libido boost may vary. Enter now at jacklinks.com/NASCAR. No purchase necessary. Sweepstakes ends 12/31/26. U.S. residents 18 or older. Void where prohibited. Sponsor Link Snacks, Inc.
Back here at Martinsville Speedway on a sunny but very cold Saturday afternoon on the Motor Racing Network. NASCAR Cup Series practice in just a bit. Pole qualifying, and it's brought to you on MRN by E3 Spark Plugs.
Right now we're watching Bubba Wallace pace the field. An update here on a moment. But we're watching the driver that's 8th on single lap runs, but first in the 15-lap average. We're speaking of Kyle Larson. Steve Post.
And Kyle Larson is in the middle of a long run. He just clicked off lap 41 here. Not much has been said on the radio except for Cliff Daniel when they got to lap 25. He said the last 2 laps have been really, really good. Really, really solid. Hasn't been much. So Larson going for a long run and looking for that long run speed. And it just sounds like with what you guys are saying with the scoring pylon or the lap times over a longer run, and just listening to the brief communication, Larson feels like the car is really, really good on a longer run. He just clicked off lap 42. So I'm not sure how long they'll go, but they're out there just digging and getting laps in. He has that bright blue, white, and red trim. HendrickCars.com colors on the car, and looking good here so far in this practice session for Kyle Larson.
He is, and Larson and Cliff Daniels, they certainly have a plan put in place. And of course they're with Hendrick Motorsports, who, Mike, essentially has been the team here at Martinsville Speedway since they've been coming here. They got their first ever Cup Series win here in April of 1984 with Jeff Bodine, and that is the win that has set Hendrick Motorsports on the path that they have become.
30 wins at Martinsville Speedway. That's a lot of grandfather clocks that have been taken home by Hendrick Motorsports driver over the years. By the way, in case you're wondering, the first grandfather clock ever handed out back in 1964, Fred Lorenzen, the first driver to take home that piece of hardware. We're watching Bubba Wallace on the racetrack. He is sporting the Hardee's colors this weekend. He'll take that black, yellow, and red Toyota Camry off turn number 4. His fast time, 19.685 seconds. That's 96.195 miles per hour. Chris, what are they saying about their Toyota Camry right now with 8 minutes to go in this practice?
Well, Mike, as Bubba Wallace passed the 30-lap mark on tires, he has been virtually quiet on the radio. It's been Freddie Kraft, his spotter, updating him on where some of the other fast cars like Kyle Larson have been running, talking about the diamond line around Martinsville Speedway and how shallow or how more of a steep entry you have, and then more of a corner exit that you kind of go down the hill a little bit on what little banking there is here at Martinsville. So Freddie Kraft offering some suggestions for Bubba, but been very happy with the run of this race car. And it's been a progression for Bubba here in the Cup Series at Martinsville. All 4 of his top 10s coming in the last 6 races here. So more and more comfortability is Bubba Wallace with Martinsville in this setup. Of course, the different horsepower may throw some teams a curveball, but this 2311 group, you talk about momentum, what Tyler Reddick's done, it's fed right into this 23 bunch with Bubba Wallace. They continue to really have a good start to the season, and they like the package they had coming here to Martinsville. So certainly it shows on the speed chart on the long run, but Bubba's still working on the wheel, but nothing on the radio as far as any complaints with that Toyota.
Won twice here in a NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series event, twice for Bubba Wallace. He's run well here in a Cup car, finished top 3 here in this race 1 year ago, so no surprise whatsoever to see Bubba Bubba Wallace having success here at Martinsville.
And he's got a career milestone coming up. When we go to the Kansas Speedway in a few weeks, he'll be having his 300th career NASCAR Cup Series start. And Bubba obviously establishing some longevity in the Cup Series. He has won last year, took home the hardware in the Brickyard 400 for 2311 Racing, their only win in 2025. Of course, we speak of 2311 Racing. What a new world this is in 2026, fueled in large part by the successes of Tyler Reddick.
Yeah, you're right about that. A lot of people, we talked to race fans, Mike, throughout this year since the season started, and are thinking, what in the world? How has this team turned the corner so quickly from not winning but one race a year ago? Tyler Reddick didn't win it all last year. Well, let's factor in some things. Two years ago, Tyler Reddick won multiple races. Last year, Tyler Reddick had a lot going on off the racetrack. With the birth of his newest child, spent a lot of time in the hospital, his son did, trying to get well from a kidney problem. Fortunately, the good news is he has healed up from that. But when you have issues like that off the racetrack and family issues like that with a newborn, you can't help but to have your mind on different things and not 100% focused, let alone all the impending lawsuit issues that were going on. People on the race team not knowing if they were going to have a job this year or not. So there was a lot of turmoil behind the scenes with that race team. Now they have solid footing, know where they're going. This team has been laser focused basically from the turn of the calendar from year 2025 to 2026, and they have come out like gangbusters. Tyler Reddick's got everything perfect at home now. He's got things going right now at the racetrack professionally as well.
I'll take this one step further. We've not spoken a lot about Billy Scott, his crew chief, and the human capital infrastructure that 2311 Racing has made. Had a chance to visit with Steve Laletta, the president of the race team. They have really gone to work on making sure they've got the right people in the right spots, and Billy Scott is the architect of some of the successes of this team. Yes, Tyler Reddick wheels the car, and he's wheeled it to victory lane 4 times this year, but you can't wheel a slow car to victory lane, and you can't wheel a car that doesn't work, and Billy Scott is in large part responsible on the successes of 2311 Racing, specifically the 45 car, but that cascading effect throughout the entire organization.
You're right, and beginning to work cohesively as a group, having a lot of feedback from each other. Things are harmonious inside the walls right now at 2311 Racing, and it shows yet again here early, and this is Group 1 of 2 practices, and Bubba Wallace, Steve Post, is currently the fastest.
Yeah, Bubba Wallace is the fastest. I want to echo a little bit more about what you guys have talking about with Billy Scott. Last week at Darlington, they had the fastest race car, which, by the way, Billy Scott created that fast race car. They found all the details to have that fast race car, so much so Brad Keselowski this morning was just talking about it's rare you see someone just whoop everybody on speed, but they did. So they put together a fast race car. Lap number 1 of that race at Darlington, they had the alternator problems. They made a battery change, a belt change. They had driver comfort issues they needed to do. They had some brake issues. I had their pit area at Darlington last week, gentlemen, and I am telling you, Billy Scott, his hair never got on fire. He never got excited. We're going to do this, and we're going to change that, and we're going to do this, and we're going to change that. And he just field generaled that team through all the challenges so that the driver could go back to work when he got back on the racetrack and race his way forward. Billy Scott, really impressive the way he is leading this team, the management of this race team. He has done such a wonderful job, and that was on display beyond the fast race car, beyond Tyler Reddick. Billy Scott's leadership and his management of all the crises that they had last week at Darlington was just so impressive, and part of the reason that 2311 team, Billy Scott with his team, and the Charles Denike with Bubba Wallace's team, Devin Restivo with Riley Herb's team, they're all kind of clicking in sync right now, but it's really fascinating to watch this 2311 team overall and this 45 team specifically of Tyler Reddick perform.
Well, right now Tyler Reddick and Billy Scott are watching Bubba Wallace and Riley Herbst of 2311 Racing do the heavy lifting. They'll be on the track in a moment. We started off practice by discussing the challenges of Joey Logano last weekend at Darlington. He has now worked his way up to the 9th position on the leaderboard. Chris, the car looks fast. What is this team saying about it?
certainly got a lot better, Mike, over the course of this Group 1 practice session. The biggest focus for Joey, as he just surpassed 50 laps on this set of tires, is the 2/3 mark in the corner all the way through exit. That's where he feels like he's losing a little bit of time, but they're really happy with the way that Ford Mustang turns into the corner on corner entry. And remember, this is a big track for Joey Logano when it comes to consistency. 13 straight top 10s, the 4th longest streak in track history. Joey would love to continue that. As you guys were documenting, the speed quite hasn't been there over the last couple of weeks, but they feel like in this whole Team Penske organization, the short track has kind of been their bread and butter. Of course, we talked to Ryan Blaney just a few minutes ago about his success. So Joey Logano climbing his way up the speed charts here just a little bit. But again, corner exit, that's been really what makes Martinsville, and that's what they're focusing on with Joey Logano here in the final minute and a half.
Logano is 6th on the board as far as the long green flag run goes. And to Chris's point, Mike, we are down to it. Just, 64 seconds or so remaining here in Group 1 practice, and a lot of laps being turned.
Bubba Wallace is fastest. Todd Gilliland second. Connor Zilic is third. Josh Berry for the Wood Brothers fourth. John Hunter Nemechek of Legacy Motor Club fifth. You got Riley Herbst in sixth. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is seventh. Kyle Larson is eighth. Joey Logano ninth. And Austin Dillon is 10th.
AJ Allmendinger is 11th. Kyle Busch is 12th. Noah Gragson 13th. And Ty Dillon 14th. Zane Smith is 15th. Cole Custer 16th. Austin Hill 17th. Justin Allgaier is 18th. And Cody Ware is 19th. You mentioned Todd Gilliland, second best right now on single lap speeds. Shouldn't be a surprise there either. Gilliland, top 10s in both Martinsville races here a year ago.
He has really taken to this racetrack in NASCAR Cup Series competition. Of course, Todd driving for Front Row Motorsports. He's a part of the Zane Smith collection as well. Noah Gragson a part of that fold. And that is a team that we've seen take a step forward in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And we're starting to see them gain on it here in the NASCAR Cup Series as well.
It's a process. Little by little, you get gains, and you try to implement those across the entire organization. That way, everybody is starting to work on the same direction when you find something that is, in fact, working. And that's what's happened right now with this Front Row Motorsports team, led at the moment by Todd Gilliland.
Watching Connor Zilic on the racetrack, he has just turned in his 70th lap, and it will be the final lap of practice for him as the black and red flags are flying, indicating Group 1 practice is over. Group 2 cars are queued. NASCAR.
Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options now available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-375-3232. 800-375-3232. That's 800-375-3232. National Debt Relief, the official debt relief partner of NASCAR.
NASCAR Cup Series practice and qualifying coverage on MRN is presented by E3 Spark Plugs. Stuck in slow motion? Unleash the NASCAR fire inside your engine with E3 Spark Plugs. Forget pit stops. E3 gives you maximum fuel efficiency for more miles on the road and less time at the pump. E3 Spark Plugs, power, speed, domination. Get yours today.
Group 1 practice has wrapped up. It'll be a moment before we send the rest of the cars out, the Group 2 cars out. While we have that opportunity, let's check in with Steve Post on the pit lane.
We've just been watching along. You guys mentioned on short run speed, Josh Berry was good, and I think they were pretty happy with the long run speed. What Josh was worried about is trying to get that car turned and rotated and up off the corner. That's like Martinsville 101. Looking at some things down here, Miles Stanley, the crew chief on this car, is looking at some of the shoulder wear on the right side tires of this car, or the left side tires, I'm sorry, and it looks like they've got just a little bit more concern on the shoulder of the left side tires tires on this car. So they're working on that with just some minor adjustments to make sure that they're not damaging. It's nothing significant. We're not seeing cords. We're not seeing anything. It just looks like there's a little bit more wear on the shoulder of the left side tires as far as Josh Berry's car goes. So he's really, really happy with the car in general, wishes it would drive up off the corner. And boy, this team needs a good race. They have struggled a little bit. Only one finish in the top 15 or top 20 in about the last 5 races. Coming to a place like Martinsville, this should be a good track for them. Home track for the Wood brothers, but Josh Berry is so good here. 2019 in the Valley Star Bank 300 NASCAR late model stock race. He led every lap. He's won here before. Knows his way around this racetrack, but working on it a little bit. But I sense that they're in solid shape down here in Josh Berry's pit. And again, this is a team that needs something good to happen. And Martinsville would be a pretty good place for it to happen with this historic Wood brothers team here with Josh Berry.
Yeah, it would. And with Josh Berry being a short track ace that he is, you fully expect him to come out here and have speed in his race car. But Mike, when you look at who was good on the longer runs, it was not Josh Berry.
No, it was not. It was Kyle Larson. He paced the 15-lap average, the 20-lap, the 30-lap average. Bubba Wallace may have turned the fastest time, but over the long haul, and that's important here at Martinsville because, yes, while many of these races are decided with short bursts of maybe green, white finishes, it is the long haul, the long green flag run here that more times than not determines and decides who wins at Martinsville.
Let's hear from a crew chief. Let's go to Chris Wilner.
Yeah, we've talked to some of the drivers here. I'd be curious what Billy Scott's thoughts are, crew chief for Tyler Reddick, who gets ready to go in group number 2. So, Billy, you watched what Bubba and Riley Herbst did in group number 1. Anything stick out with you here at Martinsville this week?
Not really. We did get to talk to them and get their feedback on what to expect going into it, and it's just going to be another trade-off of how fast you are firing off and how long you can keep the rear tires under it, because certainly with the extra horsepower is going to make a difference.
Of course, this season's been incredible for your team, for 2311 as a whole. How do you keep that momentum up at our first real short track of the season?
Yeah, we'll find out. Hopefully we do. Just riding the wave. It's the confidence and just the way everything's going our way. Just hope that continues one more week before we head in the off week.
Appreciate your time. That's Billy Scott as the engines will fire here for group number 2. We mentioned Tyler Reddick and Bubba Wallace and Riley Herbst. The entire organization, you can tell there's an extra pep in their step when they show up to the racetrack here over the course of these first 6 races, and the same was here today. They all have smiles in. Bubba climbed out of his race car, still talking with his crew. He had a big smile on his face, and rightfully so. Things are certainly clicking with 2311. It's been fun to watch, and certainly they hope that a lot of that momentum, as you heard Billy Scott say, translates to continued performance here in the early part of the season.
We'll step away, grab a quick break, and we'll have Group 2 cars on the racetrack in just a moment. From Martinsville Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
You've never been one to idly watch someone else do something for you. There's pride in self-reliance, in working with your hands, in harnessing the power of an E3 spark plug with Diamond Fire technology, yielding better engine performance. You have a choice to make. Take control of your ride, of your life, or be the passenger princess of it. Visit e3sparkplugs.com to put the power in your hands.
The NASCAR Cup Series season kicked off with the Dale and Dale Show at the Daytona 500.
Dale Jarrett's got the lead. He goes to the inside. Earnhardt's not going to get him. Dale Jarrett is going to win the Daytona 500 by STP. Earnhardt second.
The 1993 NASCAR Cup Series season. All the highs and lows. Relive them all on MRN's exclusive podcast, The 1993 Season. Available on podcast platforms and MRN.com.
Back here at the Martinsville Speedway, Group 1 practice wrapped up. Their times will remain where they're at. Bubba Wallace the fastest on single-lap speeds, but Steve Post, Todd Gilliland, second quick here after Group 1.
Todd Gilliland, second quick. This has been a good racetrack for you, Todd. A couple of top 10 finishes last year. What'd you learn about your race car here in this practice session?
Yeah, it drove a lot like last year, honestly. Some of the things we were struggling with, we're still trying to get a little bit better. So, that is nice, though, to have a little bit of a notebook and have some confidence coming back here like you said, definitely a place I've always enjoyed coming to and just always naturally had a little bit of speed. So, yeah, I'm really always excited to come here, and I think we got something to work with, definitely to make it a little bit better. But we're in the ballpark, and yeah, that's a good start for today.
More horsepower, a slight gear change, a new tire. Did you feel any of it? Do you have a sense in what any of those adjustments made?
I mean, you're definitely going faster on the straightaway. You can feel that just in the way you're shifting. But yeah, it's all still very similar. And then I didn't really necessarily run enough laps. I ran 43 laps, but I'm sure you're going to be feeling it at the end of these runs. That's for sure. You were feeling it before. Just even guys running partial throttle all the way down the straightaway with the changes between concrete. You feel like you can get to the gas and you get to the asphalt, and it continues to spin the tires. So it's very challenging. It's just going to be more challenging with more horsepower.
More challenging, but he gets a smile on his face every time he talks about Martinsville. That is Todd Gilliland.
And Todd described something that the crew chiefs were talking their way through this week. When you say you can feel the speed and more speed on the straightaway, well, that means you got to apply more brake getting into the corner. When that happens, then the brakes become an issue. When the tires fade away, the tires become a bit more skittish coming into the corner. So you back up the braking point getting in. That sets up a passing opportunity, like old school Martinsville. With just the addition of 80 more horsepower and the current tire selection, you put all that together, we need one more thing to cooperate, and that's the temperature. The higher the temperature goes, we get back to that slipping and sliding and getting back to that wild card. That all will come to a head tomorrow in the Cookout 400.
You mentioned the gear change that we have here this weekend. There are some crew chiefs down in the garage earlier today saying, in the race itself, practice no, qualifying no, but in the race, there could be an opportunity for drivers to not shift gears on any given lap out there. If they need to save fuel, they can stay in a higher gear and still have relatively good pace. So that is something that will come into play.
Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the Motor Racing Network. The NASCAR Cup Series is racing this weekend at the Martinsville Speedway. Day one of festivities underway with practice and pole qualifying for the Cookout 400. Mike Bagley alongside Alex Hayden topside. Steve Post and Chris Wilner are in the pits and in the garage area. We have just concluded Group 1 practice. Group 2 is queued up. And when Group 2 practice is done, everybody will get 2 laps of qualifying around this legendary half-mile Martinsville Speedway to set the starting lineup for the Cookout 400.
So with the drivers poised and ready to go in Group 2, a lot of the engines have already fired down there. We'll get the cars on the racetrack here in just a moment. From Martinsville Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-212-2828. 800-212-2828. That's 800-212-2828.
On pole position. Green flag is out and we're racing.
We're in the turn.
Here to the inside comes Kyle Larson. He and Hamlin bump.
We're on pit road.
4 tires Sunoco Racing Fuel. The race off from pit road is Denny Hamlin. Eric Jones goes off second.
We are live from the track. The Motor Racing Network, your home for NASCAR racing. Don't miss a lap, pit stop, or side-by-side race for the win. Listen to all the play-by-play action on your local radio station and MRN or NASCAR.com.
Back at Martinsville Speedway, the Group 2 cars have rolled on to the Martinsville Speedway. Their 25-minute practice has begun. Let's check in with Chris Wilner.
Yeah, Kyle Larson is starting to debrief, or just finished the debrief, now starting to watch this Group 2 session had out on the racetrack. And you guys were documenting during that entire 20-minute session that he was really good as far as the long run. I mean, in the statistical categories, in the 5, 10, and 15-lap averages. So quickly as this second group gets on the racetrack, Kyle, really good on the long run, it looked like. What did you feel with this new horsepower and the conditions today?
Yeah, I actually couldn't really tell a difference in horsepower, surprisingly. But yeah, I mean, my car felt good. It felt like it had a lot of turn potential, which I think is something that you need in the race. It makes it kind of a handful in practice, but overall, I mean, I thought I was okay. I think there's a couple others that are a little bit better, and then there's going to be a lot more that are better probably in this practice, but just try to, look at it, study, and be ready for qualifying.
We talk all the time about the differences between the spring and the fall. There's so much time in between these races. Do you notice the difference? How do you approach kind of the spring from the fall race?
I don't know. I think just depends on weather. I think this race last year was pretty warm, and then the fall was relatively similar to this. So I can't remember the spring though. So just kind of it's Martinsville, and you just try to do what you can to be consistent within your marks and stuff.
Appreciate it. That's Kyle Larson. He's going to get plugged back into the SMT data, but a former winner here at Martinsville. Let's try to see what some of his teammates can do here in group number 2.
Matter of fact, he won this race 3 years ago, and he's finished top 6 in the last 7 races here.
Boy can get around this racetrack.
He indeed can, and we'll see what he's able to do with his Hendrick Motorsports compadres as they go for their 31st win as an organization with Hendrick Motorsports. Tyler Reddick on the racetrack right now, sporting the white and blue Sirius XM colors this weekend. He is just coming up to speed. What we've seen is when the drivers leave the pit lane, they'll take 3, 4, maybe 5 laps to get all the fluids up to operating temperature, and then all of a sudden they'll nail the gas. Christopher Bell's doing that, blowing everybody out of the water right now. All of these cars we're describing are basically chicanes for Christopher Bell, who is driving the yellow and black DeWalt colors this weekend. Matter of fact, he's going to blow Tyler Reddick out of the water, as Reddick still is yet to punch the button here for Group 2.
So here are the Group 2 drivers that are on the racetrack. You mentioned Christopher Bell a moment ago. He's got Michael McDowell out there, Ross Chastain, Chase Briscoe, Shane Van Gisbergen, Eric Jones, Ryan Preece, Chase Elliott.
Austin Cindric's in this group, along with Daniel Suarez, Denny Hamlin, Chris Buescher, Ty Gibbs, William Byron, Carson Hocevar, Brad Keselowski, Ryan Blaney, and, as we mentioned, Tyler Reddick, who is now getting after it as he has come up to full speed, and he's about to complete his 2nd lap of fast times in this practice session.
Just saw Denny Hamlin come down the front straightaway, got into turn 1, and the car went way up the hill, and he really rolled out of the throttle, went to the inside of the backstretch, let a couple of cars go by. Hamlin now trying to get the car back up to speed, but that first time sailing it off into turn 1, that car did not either want to stop with the cold brakes or the cold tires, not just yet anyway.
Seems like that everything is as it should be on his Toyota Camry. When you mentioned Martinsville Speedway and recent successes, obviously Denny Hamlin comes to mind. He's making his 41st start here at Martinsville tomorrow. 4 poles, 6 wins, 21 top 5 finishes, and he won this race 1 year ago.
Denny Hamlin is a master, and I got a chance in my early days of being a public address announcer at short tracks around the area, and Denny Hamlin racing a late model around the area before anybody knew Denny. Denny Hamlin was Denny Hamlin before he's Denny Hamlin. And he would show up at these racetracks in like a Southern National Motorsports Park, a little 4/10 mile high bank track in eastern North Carolina, and he had a completely different driving style and went on to win the track championship there. Ironically, his only racing track championship was run that season. But he would back the corner up. And what we mean by that is he would roll out of the throttle on the straightaway much sooner than the competition did. And that enabled him to get the car right where he wanted it in the turn. Everybody else would dive in deep, but in the middle of the corner, they couldn't roll the speed, and their car would just drift up. But Denny was right where he needed to be and could get back on the accelerator much sooner. So backing up the corner on the straightaway has always been something that Denny Hamlin has been a master at.
Well, and that comes with what you described. One of the byproducts is saving tires. If you're at a racetrack that you need to save tires, Denny Hamlin's your man. We've seen it over and over and over. And as we have only clicked off for this group about 12 or 13 laps, Denny Hamlin finds himself second of this groups of cars, third overall in the fast lap. Right now he's just turned in a 19.732. That's a 95.966 mile per hour lap. And it doesn't matter where he is on the leaderboard, Alex. When you put 400 or 500 laps in front of a driver, Denny Hamlin, if the car is right, will always be in the mix here at Martinsville.
Car ain't too shabby right now for Hamlin. He's going to third overall in single lap speeds. Ty Gibbs has gone to second. Chase Elliott is fourth, and Elliott just went blowing by Denny Hamlin's race car on the track. Chase Elliott's one of those drivers here in this Gen 7 chassis at Martinsville Speedway. Has not finished worse than fourth in the last 4 Cup races here at Martinsville.
Chase Elliott has been rattling off some consistency to get us started here in 2026. Still yet to visit victory lane. Speaking of Chase Elliott, Alan Gustafson, and that Hendrick Motorsports car, a teal-colored car this weekend with the black number 9 on the side of the race car. UniFirst, the sponsor. Chase has come close here recently in winning, but they're off to a start that many feel that through their methods of consistency will put them in prime position to be a Chase contender to race for this year's championship.
I wouldn't put it past him by any stretch of the imagination. You know, got to keep a close eye on Ryan Blaney here in his practice session as well. Blaney, of course, all the success that he's had here at the Martinsville Speedway as of late. And talking to him with Chris just before practice began earlier here, about 45 minutes or so ago, he was very interested to see how this track would take rubber. And when rubber gets on the corners here at Martinsville Speedway, that's when Ryan Blaney's at his best here. And we are indeed seeing the concrete begin to darken up in the corners.
Yeah, Ryan Blaney is gold on a rubbered-in racetrack on these concrete corners here at Martinsville. We are watching him work down the back straightaway, and he's got Tyler Reddick and Austin Cindric behind him. And I'm just watching how he's managing the gap. Alex will put it at about maybe 5 or 6 car lengths over Tyler Reddick. Tyler's not been able to carve into the advantage that Ryan has. We're seeing Ryan just click off, I call bread and butter laps. Don't get too crazy. Dive it into the corner, ease off, drive off, looks good. And it looks like Ryan Blaney's got himself something to work with this weekend.
Yeah, you mentioned about 5 car lengths, but on exit of the corner, Blaney gets a whale of a bite off the corner, and it grows from 5 to 10 car lengths. By the time they enter the corner, that shrinks back up. So Blaney has tremendous grip and good drive up off of the corners here, at least here in this practice session. Tomorrow's forecasted temperatures are supposed to be in the low 60s. Still brilliant sunshine in the forecast for tomorrow. So Blaney's practice so far, what we see could translate, and that could be trouble for everybody tomorrow.
It's got him 13th on the leaderboard overall, and as we look at the leaderboard, Bubba Wallace is the fastest of everybody. Then you get into a string of 3 cars in Group 2. Ty Gibbs, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott. You have Todd Gilliland, that's 5th. Connor Zilic is 6th. Josh Berry is 7th. And then you get to another cluster of race cars that are 8th overall on single lap speed. Ryan Preece is 8th. William Byron's 9th. And Ross Chastain of Trackhouse Racing is 10th.
Just watch Chase Elliott drive up and underneath Chase Briscoe and put him in the mirror. So Elliott drove by Hamlin. He's gotten away from Hamlin by 20 car lengths. Now he just drove by Chase Briscoe and has put 4 car lengths between himself and that Toyota. Chase Elliott's car looks like it is handling this racetrack quite well, as Hendrick Motorsports is still looking for their first win here of the season.
Yeah, it's surprising that Chevrolet is yet to break into victory lane here in the NASCAR Cup Series, and also Hendrick Motorsports, a byproduct of that, obviously, has yet to find their first win. This is the latest they've gone into a season in a long, long time without winning a race to kick off a racing season. Let's check in downstairs with Chris.
Yeah, Mike, and one of the elements this weekend, too, at Martinsville Speedway with that increased horsepower is maybe a little bit in changing on how much brake each of these teams is using and how the drivers are attacking corner entry. It's been interesting listening to Chase Briscoe's radio, who, of course, is a driver trying to climb out of an early season deficit in the points standings here in 2026. And Drew's been telling him about driving it into a certain marker, maybe try to use a little less brake on entry on certain ends of the racetrack. Different laps, they've been doing different experiments on braking, because don't forget, you are using a little bit, or do have a little more horsepower on corner entry. So the drivers, although they'd like to use more brake, you definitely don't want to use your brakes up over the course of a 400 lap race tomorrow. So one of the other elements with the new horsepower package, not just tire fall off and where the rubber is, but how you use your braking and what braking adjustments you need to make, whether it's with bias or other things like that the driver can do to get your car to help turn and not, again, abuse the brakes. So brakes another factor here at Martinsville on such a short track.
Ryan Blaney continues to put down great laps here in this practice session. He passed Denny Hamlin and drove away from him, passed Chase Briscoe, drove away from Briscoe, and he is now past Reddick and has absolutely left Tyler Reddick as well. I would say Ryan Blaney's feeling pretty good about his race car.
Yeah, he is. But let's go back to the Tyler Reddick discussion. In our production meeting this week, we all had a question. Tyler Reddick's never finished in the top 5 here at the Martinsville Speedway. Well, right now, perhaps some kryptonite is rising to the surface for what has been a Superman-like effort for Tyler Reddick and Billy Scott in the 45 car. 21st overall on the leaderboard, and his fastest lap is just about, I would say, maybe a couple of tenths of a second shy of putting him in the top 5. But right now, Alex, he is buried on the overall leaderboard, but he's also buried among his Group 2 counterparts.
Yeah, he is, and he's in some pretty impressive company right now with what he's been able to do to start this season. And if Reddick can jump out and find a way to win this race here tomorrow, Tyler Reddick can become the second driver to win 5 of a season's first 7 races. The only other driver to do that, well, it happened in 1987. A guy by the name of Dale Earnhardt did that. But to your point, this has not traditionally been a track that's been in the wheelhouse for Tyler Reddick, but it is a new year.
I would say over the last 10 laps or so, Ryan Blaney has left Tyler Reddick by a half a straightaway, and we're seeing Tyler tinker with some lines in the corner. He'll hug the curbing. He'll go up in what we call diamond the corner. He'll drive the car in, go to the apex, hang the left and drive straight off. Right now they're just trying to find whatever they need to take that Sirius XM Toyota up the leaderboard and get in with some of their Toyota racing counterparts like Ty Gibbs and Denny Hamlin, who find themselves in the top 5. We've got 11 minutes to go in Group 2 practice. Ty Gibbs, the fastest of this group from Martinsville Speedway. This is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
NASCAR fans, iRacing Studios brings you NASCAR 25. Race hundreds of the biggest stars of the sport on top tracks from Daytona to Sonoma. Start your career in the ARCA Menard Series and work your way up to Cup while managing team members, sponsors, and more. Or compete online with NASCAR fans around the world. NASCAR 25, available on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. Head to NASCAR25.com to buy now.
Check out the Motor Racing Network online. Head to MRN.com for NASCAR news, MRN's broadcast schedule, and podcasts. Or find your local MRN radio station. Check out exclusive online NASCAR content on the Motor Racing Network's social media platforms. Follow along on MRN's Facebook and Instagram or on X at MRN Radio. And find all of MRN's video programs on YouTube's MRN channel. The voice of NASCAR online is the Motor Racing Network.
Nine and a half minutes remaining. Group 2 practice for the Cookout 400. NASCAR Cup cars racing today at the Martinsville Speedway. We talk about practice and qualifying. Later today, the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series will be with us. We'll have the NFPA 250 Motor Racing Network airtime 3 p.m. Eastern. And then tonight, the Wheel and Modified Tour Virginia is for Racing Lovers 200. Supposed to run that last night. It got rained out. 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. We'll have coverage of the Mod Squad from here at Martinsville.
You know, we were talking about Ryan Blaney and his performance this year. He comes into Martinsville second in championship points. That's a testament to the speed they have in their race car every week. But, Mike, it has been a start to the season that is a what could have been type of start to this season. Out of the 37 full-time Cup Series teams this year, Ryan Blaney's pit crew ranks 36th of 37, and they have given up a cumulative 75 positions on pit road this year.
Had to go back and listen to some in-car audio to get some context of some things that happened last weekend at Darlington, and they had one of those horrible pit stops. Ryan keyed up and says, guys, we have got to clean this up, because just imagine what could have been. Those are 75 spots they left laying on the table. Had they not done that, we could very well be talking more of successes of Ryan Blaney and focusing in on what they've accomplished as far as being in the mix and being in the hunt, instead of making up for lost ground that's been given up on the pit lane.
One of the things keeping a close eye on with not just Blaney, but everybody out here from Group 1 to where we are in Group 2, we saw Bubba Wallace run a total of 60 laps in Group 1 practice. His fastest lap was on lap number 7. And then from the time slowdown, the drop-off, what we like to call it, as the tires wear down, they lost in the neighborhood of 1 full second in a 53-lap run since that fast lap. So getting a good idea. And I looked at Kyle Larson's numbers as well. He was right at 9/10 of a second, a lap slower over a 50-lap run as well. So we do know that the Goodyear tires in tomorrow's race are certainly going to have a big factor in how these crew chiefs strategize and when to put on tires. Does that mean we're going to have green flag pit stops? Highly unlikely with a 400-lap race as opposed to what we see here in the fall race, which is 500 laps.
Just watching Ryan Blaney on the racetrack, Alex, he is obviously picking them up and putting them down. He's got Christopher Bell sitting right in front of him, and in front of Bell, you've got Ross Chastain. Just watching to see how Ryan gets the run up off the corner, who can stay with him in pace and stride. And right now, Christopher Bell is giving him a run for the money. Blaney trying to find his way through, but can't quite get to the back bumper. It looks like Christopher Bell may have something in store here.
He very well could. See Bell's car runs about a half lane higher through the middle of the corner than what Blaney does, who is absolutely glued to the bottom of the racetrack. As they make their way right to left down the backstretch across your radio dial, they're going to run parallel with a Norfolk Southern Railroad train that is making its way past the Martinsville Speedway through all the motorhomes on the back straightaway.
That is one of the very unique aspects here at Martinsville. Alex described how this track sits basically at the end of the street behind a row of some houses. Then you have the track. Then behind the racetrack, you have the train that right now is passing right to left and at a very reduced rate of speed, just adding to the ambiance that punctuates a visit to the Martinsville Speedway.
Down to 6.5 minutes to go here in this Group 2 practice session. That will wrap up all of practice for the NASCAR Cup Series. Don't forget, qualifying will be immediately after that. 2 hot laps for each one of those drivers. They'll take their fastest one of those 2 laps. Continuing to watch that trio of cars, Mike, that you pointed out a moment ago. Chastain, Christopher Bell, and Blaney. Bell went way up the racetrack here in turn 4. Blaney drove by, Eric Jones drove by, but Christopher Bell with an issue there in turns 3 and 4.
Had to put both feet on the brake pedal and woe that thing down, and he takes it off turn 2 right now to get his sea legs back from under him. That was a hold your breath moment. We talk about his teammate Chase Briscoe, who just got bypassed by Ryan Preece of Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing. By the way, Ryan will be our guest analyst today on the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series broadcast. He's going to climb out of his black and orange Ford Mustang, debrief with the crew, and he'll be a part of our coverage beginning at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Chase Briscoe is having a heck of a time keeping his car to the bottom of the racetrack. Matter of fact, he almost just threw it away in turn 1.
Yeah, this is a head scratcher for this team right now because there just isn't a whole lot you can do to the setup of these race cars on a normal race weekend. This is your only practice session that you have. Crew Chief James Small, Chase, as he comes up off turn 4, the back end of that car fishtails on him as he tries to apply the power.
Talked to Chase earlier this week, and he felt that he and James Small needed to focus on the short track program. They feel they got their intermediates right, their mile and a half right, and he says that there are some learning opportunities here on short tracks. And right now, when we look on the leaderboard and see Chase Briscoe, well, we've got to go over on the right side of the scoring monitor. They are 32nd of 37 cars that have taken time in practice so far.
And 22nd in the championship point standings coming into this weekend. You know, there's a demographic of people in the garage, Mike, that say you get through the first 10 races of any given season and you know pretty much who's got what. And that 10 race stretch to start the season basically sets the tone for the season. Chase Briscoe and this team have just started off behind the 8 ball. It seems like some bad finishes, some self-inflicted problems for this race team week in and week out as well. They've got to climb out of a major hole points-wise.
Well, one of the frustrating things about that team is the cars had speed. but they have found themselves on the racetrack where they've been collected in accidents. They've had mechanical failures. They've had some challenges on the pit lane, and they've gotten themselves dug in so deep that they're having a heck of a time climbing out of this hole. And I know that recently, every single week they go to the racetrack, they see that as an opportunity. Let's get stage points. Let's get that good finish. Let's start putting points back in the bucket that right now is about half empty compared to some of the other teams. And it seems like that the harder they try, they're taking a half a step or a step behind. And again, this is just situational things. Whereas last year, everything was coming together for James and Chase. After a Goodyear tire test in May, where they had that chemistry building exercise, they won 7 poles, 3 races last year. But 2026 is off to a rocky start for Chase Briscoe, James Small, and that Tracker Bass Pro Shops Toyota Camry team.
And there's always optimism that they can put it together. Chase Elliott was off the pace on the back straightaway, did not come to pit road. On the front stretch, he comes down and goes all the way down to driver's left at the bottom of the front straightaway, and is wiggling the car side to side. Again on the backstretch, Mike, he's way off the pace.
Yeah, he is really stumped on the brake pedal. He's just easing the car onto the pit lane. Perhaps maybe we can follow up there and just see what that story is. That was very unexpected, considering that Chase has logged 59 laps of this practice session so far. Single lap runs will have him 4th overall on the leaderboard, and on the 15-lap run, Alex, he's 4th there as well. So it looks like that the car has long run speed, but Chris, is there a problem brewing there? What was Chase doing there on the racetrack?
Yeah, so you guys were mentioning he was swerving just a little bit. Haven't heard much on the radio as far as the concern. They did opt to bring him down, so the United First Chevrolet is being backed into his pit stall here for his Hendrick Motorsports group. They're going to go ahead and look over the machine, but again, no real cause for concern. Nobody jumped up over the pit wall, or Alan Gustafson didn't kind of show any real concern, but definitely maybe I'm looking at the tires from where I can see them just behind pit wall, and they look pretty wore up. So just curious if maybe he was just scrubbing to see if he had a tire issue or not, but they definitely look really worn here as Chase looks like he'll call it a day with less than 2 minutes to go.
And Christopher Bell also comes off the pace off turn 2 down to the inside of the racetrack. He elects to stay on the speedway, but see Bell a lot slower on the track, much like what we saw with Chase Elliott.
Got about a minute to go here in this Group 2 practice for the Cookout 400. The drivers that have turned the most laps, Connor Zillich, Ty Dillon, they have 70, Kyle Larson 68. In this group, Denny Hamlin is about to log his 65th lap in this session. And again, Alex, it goes back to something that we spoke of earlier. While yes, many a race at Martinsville has been decided on a 2-lap sprint to the checkered flag, but leading up to that point, it's the long green flag run that will rear its head every now and then here.
It will, and that's something you must pay attention to. I want to go back and follow up on a couple of things. We were talking earlier about Bubba Wallace and some of these drivers that dropped off 1 full second in 53 consecutive laps of running in their practice session. Looking at Ryan Blaney, he's now run 66 total laps. His fastest lap was on lap 10. So a 56-lap run from his fastest to where he is right now. He's only lost, almost 0.8 of a second of drop-off compared to what we saw with some of the other teams, maybe 0.9 of a second compared to what we saw from some of the other teams. So not quite as much give up on the Ryan Blaney car compared to some of the others.
Doing a good job of managing their resources and, of course, managing one of the ultimate resources here at Martinsville, those Goodyear tires that have become so important. And kudos to Goodyear for softening up these tires over the years. We've seen it at Richmond. We've seen it here at Martinsville. And with that, in concert with more horsepower, it really has thrown a curveball to some of the teams. The ripple effect, changing the gearing in the cars to try to maximize their performance. While a lot is known, there are some unknowns this time through as we work our way back to Martinsville for the spring of 2026.
Red and black flags are flying from the starter's stand, signifying the end of practice for the Cookout 400. Last couple of cars go flashing by the start-finish line, and everybody will make their way back to the pit lane. Time now for a final adjustment or two before you put your car in line to get set for qualifying, and we'll have it for you live in just a moment. From Martinsville Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
You've never been one to idly watch someone else do something for you. There's pride in self-reliance, in working with your hands, in harnessing the power of an E3 spark plug with Diamond Fire technology yielding better engine performance. You have a choice to make. Take control of your ride, of your life, or be the passenger princess of it. Visit e3sparkplugs.com to put the power in your hands.
Hi, I'm Kyle Petty, and I want to tell you about a place that's near and dear to my heart. Victory Junction. It's a year-round camp that gives kids with complex medical and physical conditions life-changing experiences that are fun, empowering, and always free for families. Please help Victory Junction support kids who need it the most by getting involved today. Whether you know a child who could benefit, want to volunteer, or join our team, you can be a part of something truly special. Learn more by visiting victoryjunction.org.
Back here at the Martinsville Speedway as practice has wrapped up for tomorrow's Cookout 400. Practice and pole qualifying on MRN each week, brought to you by E3 Spark Plugs. As the single lap speed belonged to Bubba Wallace, the long run belonged to both Ryan Blaney and Kyle Larson. If you look at it, break it down a little more, best 10 lap consecutive, well, that was Chase Elliott. Best 20 consecutive was Ryan Blaney. Best 30 consecutive lap average was Kyle Larson.
Perhaps maybe we have our short list of ones to consider tomorrow here at the Martinsville Speedway. Of course, we've seen drivers pop up over the years that have been a factor. We've seen some drivers that have not been factors so far, at least in practice. We're speaking of Tyler Reddick. We're speaking of Chase Briscoe. Speaking of Christopher Bell. So we'll see what their 2 laps of qualifying will give them. And then, of course, that'll set the starting lineup for tomorrow's race.
So some rubber was put down on the racetrack as practice wrapped up there. So we'll see what the track conditions will be like once it's time to go out and go qualifying here in just a bit. Ryan Preece, our guest analyst for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series broadcast, coming up a little bit later on today. Well, how was his practice, Steve Post?
Practice was good. He really likes the race car. Now, he did have a little bit of a close call at the end. He had a left rear flat tire for Ryan Preece, and he felt like he ran over something. He did not feel like it was a wear issue, and the team has looked at it, and they feel like it was run over something, not a tire issue as far as wear goes. But feels really good about the car, the turnability of his race car, and this is really something that's been interesting to follow with Ryan. He's so good at this racetrack. We talk about his exploits in the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour. Had a great run here a couple of years ago with Haas CNC Racing. He has always been good at this racetrack, and actually heard this morning his team owner Brad Keselowski held court, and he said what Ryan has brought to the RFK operation as far as Martinsville goes is something that they're all trying to work on. As a matter of fact, Brad spent about the last 6 or 8 laps of that practice just trying to wrap the bottom to be like Ryan around the bottom of the racetrack. So no concern down here as far as that tire goes, the left rear flat tire for Ryan Preece, and they're just continuing to work to make their race cars a little better, just kind of gauging it. I think you guys have kind of documented there's 3 or 4 cars that are really, really good. I kind of sense that Preece might be in that next step below him, so they've got a little bit of work to do.
That's the update for Ryan Preece. Again, going to be an analyst with us this afternoon here on the Motor Racing Network in our NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series coverage. And Ryan Preece has already been to victory lane at the Clash at Bowman Gray. Now he's going to try to win a points-paying race, and that would be obviously his first of 2026. Practice is over. Qualifying is coming up from Martinsville Speedway. This is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Visit the NASCAR shop online to find all of your favorite officially licensed NASCAR product. The NASCAR shop is the official online store of NASCAR and your destination for all of your favorite hats, t-shirts, diecast, and more. Whether tailgating, home gating, or anything in between, visit NASCAR.com/shop for the widest assortment and best selection of NASCAR gear today.
NASCAR history.
What I learned from Ken Squire, Barney Hall, and Ned Jarrett, I could never repay. Ken never told me what to say or what not to say. I learned very quickly that I was never going to be another Ken Squire. I don't think anybody could rise to that level.
Motor Racing Network's NASCAR Live presents podcasts 50 years of MRN. Jeff Gordon, A Colorful Career, the 1993 season, Junior's Journey, and more. Search for NASCAR Live on your favorite podcast platform.
Back at Martinsville Speedway, cars are being pushed into qualifying formation. Everybody will get 2 laps of qualifying coming up. We'll have that for you in a moment. Right now, let's catch up with the driver that was fastest overall in single lap speed. Bubba Wallace is with Chris Wilner.
Yes, Bubba Wallace with the Hardee's colors, talking to Raja Carruth, who will be taking part in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race here in just a little bit this afternoon on the Motor Racing Network. And Bubba's trying to help Raja a little bit with where braking is. So good conversations here with Raja. What, you giving them some of the speed secrets from practice for his race this afternoon?
I was going to hook him up with the Bubba Wallace meal at Hardee's.
There you go. What is in that, by the way?
It's 3-piece tenders, large Coke and fry.
Speaking my language.
It's so good. It's right across the street. Go get one.
I'm going to do that after this broadcast, but tell me about your race car in practice. Fastest on single lap, but how was the longevity of your Toyota?
Yeah, you kind of get lost in the sauce there, looking at group to group. Group 2 usually has less deg, looks a little bit better. We went out, we waited a little bit to clear off the rubber from yesterday, and our Hardee's Camry looks good, it runs good. We've really changed the philosophy on our setup to just be better here. We've been okay. We've run top 5 at times, but we want to win. We have the speed. Our 2311 cars have the speed, so I thought it was a big power movement to be the fastest overall from Group 1. And, so now it's qualifying. Forget what I just said and go out there and ship it and see what we got.
I was going to say, does this car have pole? Because we know how important qualifying is with the pit selection.
Yeah, it's tough. Like I go back to the odds are against you when you're in Group 1, but Seabell did it a couple races ago. And we studied that, and I think we have all the right notes and right car and right people. So let's make it happen.
Good luck. Bubba Wallace with the Hardee's colors. Boy, made me hungry there in that interview, but fastest in practice. We'll see if it translates to qualifying.
To Steve Post.
Justin Allgaier down here, a little debrief. They've just actually fired up the Ally Chevrolet down here as well, so a lot of noise down here. All right, how is the substitution role going and getting a chance to do it a few weeks in a row? How are things?
Well, obviously, still thinking about Alex. Want to get him back in the car as soon as possible. If you go off of how we've run the last 2 weeks, Alex definitely needs to get back because we haven't had the speed that we want to. But really proud of this 48 Ally team, and they're doing a great job. I mean, obviously, to be in this role and for them even to try to have somebody else jump in this car and do this, it's a tough challenge. And so, proud of the team, proud of the effort. We got to work on it for us today. I think that the differences between the 2 cars is really significant here. So, just trying to maximize this car as best you can. And when the whole field is separated by just a couple of tenths, it's hard to learn, what the differences need to be in that moment.
What are some of the things, big picture differences between the O'Reilly Auto Parts cars and these Cup cars? We've talked about it, but you're jumping back and forth today between the 2 of them.
Yeah, probably the biggest thing, obviously, is, shifting in the Cup car versus not shifting in the O'Reilly car. But, the amount of brakes that you have, being able to get the car stopped in the corner, really adjusts your line. So all the things that kind of you value in the O'Reilly Series car are very different for the Cup Series car. So either way, we're going to go out there. We're going to put a solid qualifying lap down, hopefully. And, I think once the race starts tomorrow, we'll have a great shot at it. And this team, Blake Harris has done a great job of keeping us in these races, even when it's, not looking good. He's able to keep us in these races, keep us moving forward. So that's really what we're going to focus on.
That's Justin Allgaier, and by the way, he will lead us to green when we go racing with the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race later this afternoon.
By virtue of the rule book, they were starting qualifying for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series yesterday afternoon when the rains came, when the 7th driver was ready to go out. So they scrapped qualifying, they set it by the rule books, and Justin Allgaier will lead the field to the green flag. From Martinsville Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
NASCAR fans, iRacing Studios brings you NASCAR 25. Race hundreds of the biggest stars of the sport on top tracks from Daytona to Sonoma. Start your career in the ARCA Menard Series and work your way up to Cup while managing team members, sponsors, and more. Or compete online with NASCAR fans around the world. NASCAR 25, available on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. Head to NASCAR25.com to buy now.
Looking for weekly motorsports podcasts to stay up to date on what's happening on and off the track? The Motor Racing Network is the place. Hear from NASCAR crew chiefs on MRN Crew Call. All the happenings from regional touring series and local tracks on NASCAR Coast to Coast. Sprint Car Talk on Winged Nation. NASCAR history on MRN Classic Races. And hear from the drivers on NASCAR Live. MRN podcasts available on MRN.com, YouTube, or your favorite podcast platform.
Qualifying coming up for the Cookout 400 here in just a few moments. Before that happens, let's hear from some more drivers. Chris Wilner.
Yeah, here with Kyle Busch as he gets set to go qualifying. First, I got to ask you, did you give your spotter, Derek Nealon, any last-minute words of advice before he goes tackle Hickory here in the Arc of an Art Series later?
I sure did, yeah. I told him you better save your tires. So he thought they were pretty good and had really good long-run speed, long-run drive-off and all that you need there to be fast. And they posted a second quickest lap time for qualifying, so it looks like they're good on both fronts. So looking forward to watching him tonight, but first we got to qualify this FICO Chevrolet.
How was your car in practice, and anything stick out to you as far as that 20-minute session?
Typical Martinsville, pretty similar to what we've been fighting here the last couple times. Just not bad. Car turns really good. You just got to be able to continue to connect that corner and have that drive off, especially the long run speed.
All right, that's Kyle Busch, a two-time winner here, going to go qualifying in Group 1 here in just a minute.
Talk about the Arc of an Art Series East racing tonight at Hickory Motor Speedway. They're kicking off their season tonight. You can watch it on the NASCAR channel. Be sure to check that out as Derek Nealon will go toe-to-toe with Max Reeves and everybody else of the Arc of an Art Series East. Here comes Austin Hill off the corner. He'll complete his qualifying lap. First lap was 19.921. That'll be his fastest lap of record. Cody Ware, Riley Herbst, Ty Dillon, Cole Custer, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. queued up and ready to go as well.
Let's hear from Josh Berry with Steve Post.
Yeah, Josh down here has the Wood Brothers car on pit road here at Martinsville. Josh, how was the car? How was practice?
Yeah, I felt pretty good. I had good short run speed, I thought. Just felt a little tight as we ran, so I need a few adjustments for tomorrow to race a little better. But overall, I feel pretty solid. Hopefully we got to have the adjustments right for this qualifying session and get us a good lap.
You have had so many laps around this racetrack. What are the unique things about this weekend? We've had an engine change, a gearing change, a tire change. Have you noticed anything specifically that stands out this weekend?
Not a whole lot. I mean, obviously, it's still Martinsville, and we're definitely going to, with additional horsepower, we're going to be mindful of the rear tires a little bit more for sure. But all in all, it's still same old Martinsville.
Same old Martinsville, and, well, he puts a smile on his face when he says that. He's awful good at this racetrack. That's Josh Berry.
Cody Ware on the racetrack, having completed his first qualifying lap. He'll go to the top of the leaderboard with a 19.719 second lap.
We talked a little bit in practice earlier about shifting gears, and that's something that's been going on here since we've been running the Gen 7 car at Martinsville Speedway. Just kind of still makes me shake my head just a bit that they're doing that here, and they have to deal with so much on a tight little racetrack. But if you're wondering, they have 5 gears with which to choose and work with. They only use 2 of those here at Martinsville at speed. 3rd gear in the corners, 4th gear on the straightaways.
Here's Riley Herbst to pull his Monster Energy Toyota up onto the racetrack as we head back trackside to Chris.
Here with Zane Smith in his Long John Silver's colors. By the way, nice helmet. SpongeBob, where did that come from?
Yeah, I actually used to have a SpongeBob helmet when I was in karting growing up, so debuted that at COTA, and kind of the helmet I'll run in between errands and our Long John Silver races. So happy to be here in Martinsville. Really cool place to watch right here. Looking forward to seeing what we can do here and qualifying a little bit.
Yeah, we're right here on pit wall. You get the sense of the speed. So did you notice a difference with the horsepower change, and how did you have to attack your practice session just with some of the changes?
Yeah, I mean, me personally, it was hard to tell a difference like early in the run, but you certainly see a difference and feel a difference late in the run just with the amount of fall off, especially the transition from concrete back to asphalt with the just wheel spin and trying to control that. So definitely going to be a big thing that we have to manage tomorrow, but it'll be a lot of fun.
All right, that's Zane Smith getting ready to qualify a Truck Series winner here in 2021.
Zane Smith is one of those young drivers from Huntington Beach, California that he mentioned the transition, the concrete corners, and it straightens out off turn 2. there's still concrete on the outside couple of lanes, and you're already straightening the race car out. So that transition from concrete to asphalt, drivers have to manage it, and it's just part of the characteristic of Martinsville.
Ty Dillon is on the racetrack. Here he comes out of turn number 4 to the start-finish line. Let's see what he has on his first lap of qualifying. Ty Dillon, third of the 4 drivers. Overall, his first lap, 19.804 seconds. That's 95.617 miles per hour. Remember, 2 laps of qualifying this weekend, and here's Ty Dillon off the corner to the checkered flag. Let's see if his second lap gets better than the first.
Ty Dillon across the line does not get better. He'll be third right now of the 4 drivers. Riley Herbst is the fastest. To Steve Post.
I'm here with Ryan Preece. Ryan, how was your car in that practice session?
Yeah, I think it drove really good. Honestly, for all the things that we wanted to be when we came here, I felt like we checked a lot of those boxes. So the Bodyguard Fastenal Ford Mustang Dark Horse is solid today, and certainly looking forward to qualifying.
You've ran so many different type of vehicles here. What are some of the unique characteristics of the Cup cars here, or is it Martinsville is just Martinsville?
It's the paperclip, man. They all want to do the same thing: turn left and come off the corner as fast as you can.
All right. We'll look forward to having you in the booth later on today, too. You going to go up there and keep our guys straight up in the booth?
That's right. I'm going to try.
Good luck with that. That's full-time work. That's Ryan Preece. He's going to join us on the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts broadcast later today, and we'll see how he fares here in qualifying in just a few moments.
Be sure to join us 3 p.m. Eastern Time when we will have live coverage of the NFPA 250. Here's Cole Custer. He'll take his Haas Racing team, Haas Factory team car out of turn number 4. He's trying to take the top spot away from Riley Herbst.
And he does it. Cole Custer to the top of the leaderboard. He did it on his fast lap, which was the first of the 2 laps. It looks like we've split it right down the middle. Half the drivers who have run were fastest on their first lap, the other half fastest on their second lap. So Cole Custer right now has the mark to beat. Riley Herbst is second. Cody Ware is third. Ty Dillon is fourth, and Austin Hill fifth, as Ricky Stenhouse Jr. goes to the racetrack.
Still to come, Joey Logano will be up next. It'll be Justin Allgaier in replacement of Alex Bowman. He'll be next up after Joey, along with Noah Gregson, John Hunter Nemechek, AJ Allmendinger, Kyle Larson, and Austin Dillon. Now, you may be scratching your head, why are cars like Joey Logano and Kyle Larson going out so soon in qualifying? Well, the metric that is used to line these cars up is based on how you finished last weekend at Darlington in concert with owners' point standings. Kyle Larson and Joey Logano did not have the best Darlington races, and that's what finds them in Group 1 and up front and one of the first cars to qualify this weekend at Martinsville.
It's 70% of the previous race finish and 30% of the current point standings, and that's owners. So that's how they measure out this metric and that formula and where you end up. And they use the owner points for the scenario like what we're seeing with the 48 car, normally driven by Alex Bowman, but with a substitute driver with Justin Allgaier here for 3 consecutive races. That car number 48 team still earns owners points, and that's why they use that metric formula with owners points as opposed to straight driver points.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has just completed his qualifying lap, 3rd of the 6 that have taken time, as Joey Logano takes the green flag back trackside to Posty.
Down here, Chase Elliott, 4 straight top 4 finishes here at Martinsville Speedway. So how does this car compare to the good cars you've had here the past couple of years?
Yeah, it's pretty similar. This place is extremely, it doesn't change a lot year to year. So the only thing that you're kind of gauging is just the condition of the track and how much rubber's down, and obviously going to be a lot more tomorrow. So yeah, I always find myself kind of guessing like where I want to be on that realm and of balance. So just thinking through that a little bit right now, and obviously mine's kind of shifted to qualifying and just what I need to do to go fast for a couple laps, and then we can kind of go to work on tomorrow, tonight, and so hopefully get a good starting spot. It's always really, really helpful here.
You mentioned qualifying. What are the challenges of a good qualifying lap here? You got no banking to fall off on? Is that what the big challenge is?
Yeah, it's a lot of rhythm. It's just trying to find a really good rhythm for 2 laps, and just the the concrete is really either you have a lot of grip or you don't. So you're just trying to be on the lot of grip side of that and hopefully hit it right. So we'll see.
There we go. That is Chase Elliott. Find a lot of rhythm for 2 laps. We'll see what he does on his qualifying run.
We'll wait and find out. Joey Logano, by the way, went to the top of the leaderboard on his qualifying lap. Joey Logano's the fastest. On the racetrack right now is Justin Allgaier. He's on his second lap. Mike, his first lap was a good one.
It is second overall, lap 1 for Justin Allgaier. Lap 2 in the books. Checkered flag is flying. Justin Allgaier will stay in second and will not get faster on lap 2. Backtrack side to Chris.
Yeah, I was just about to talk to Christopher Bell. He's getting the headstock on. He's about to climb into this race car. You guys mentioned was experimenting a lot in practice. We saw him go up the hill a couple of different times, trying to work on the turn of this Toyota, so we'll see if that translates to qualifying. But again, Christopher Bell about to climb into this race car, this DeWalt Toyota Camry, a place here at Martinsville that's been kind to him. 3 top 10s in the last 5, including that fall 2022 win here at the Paperclip. So Christopher Bell could be a threat in qualifying as, wow, Noah Gregson locked up the brakes coming into turn number 1 just by me.
Yeah, he did. A big plume of smoke came from the right front corner of that race car and the left front as well. He really locked him up going into turn number 1. Here comes the pink and black Ford Mustang Dark Horse, Noah Gregson, lap number 1. He is the 9th different driver to take a time so far, and he'll be 7th on lap 1.
Here he is on the gas, coming out of 2 and up the back straightaway to complete his second lap of qualifying. John Hunter Nemechek, A.J. Allmendinger, Kyle Larson up next as Noah Gregson comes out of turn number 4. Checkered flag is waving. Alex told you he was 7th on lap 1. He'll jump to 5th overall of the 9 that have qualified so far. We documented the challenges of Chase Briscoe in practice. Back to Chris.
Yeah, Chase just arrived to his race car before he climbs in, so eventful practice for you. How would you summarize your 20 minutes? It seemed like it was kind of all over the place.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't great. I don't know. This place has been a struggle for whatever reason at JGR. SHR, I always thought this was one of my better tracks, but yeah, just haven't been able to quite get the feel under braking that I like at least. So yeah, it's been an uphill battle, but confident that the Bass Pro Shops tracker guys will get her figured out. And definitely got a long way to get better, but that's been a common thing for us. In practice, we always make it better. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing how it is today and qualifying, and obviously the race tomorrow. But, yeah, hopefully get a good lap together. It's definitely going to be a track position race.
You have 20 minutes to figure out what you have. Now you get 2 laps. How do you put that behind you and just go send it in qualifying and get the best that you can get? Because we know how pivotal qualifying is here.
Yeah, that's the hard part is for us, in practice, I was just all over the place under braking. I would lock the left front up, then I would lock the rears up, and in qualifying, you have to maximize braking. So, yeah, I have no idea what I'm going to have right here. Hopefully, we get it right, and hopefully can put up a good lap.
We're all going to watch together. That's Chase Briscoe getting ready to climb aboard his Tracker Boats Bass Pro Shops Toyota here in qualifying.
10 cars have taken time so far in qualifying for the Cookout 400. Joey Logano continues to be the fastest. He's looking for his 6th career pole here at the Car.
You've never been one to idly watch someone else do something for you. There's pride in self-reliance, in working with your hands, in harnessing the power of an E3 spark plug with Diamond Fire technology yielding better engine performance. You have a choice to make. Take control of your ride, of your life, or be the passenger princess of it. Visit e3sparkplugs.com to put the power in your hands.
Podcast platform.
For 250 years, America has been more than a place. It's been a promise, a story of courage, hope, and dreams. And through it all, local TV and radio broadcasters have been there, telling the story of America, bringing truth to light. Broadcasters tell the story of who we are and who we aspire to be. We are America's storytellers. We are broadcasters. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Here at the Martinsville Speedway, 10 drivers have taken time. We'll run you down through those 10 drivers right now.
Joey Logano is number 1 atop the leaderboard. Justin Allgaier 2nd. Cole Custer 3rd. Riley Herbst 4th. Noah Gregson's 5th. John Hunter Nemechek 6th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 7th. Cody Ware 8th. Ty Dillon 9th. Austin Hill 10th. I want to back up to the John Hunter Nemechek qualifying effort. Earlier this week, if you, like us, some of you, were watching the Dan Patrick Show, Darius Rucker, former lead singer of Hootie and the Blowfish, was on, a regular on the Dan Patrick Show, wearing a Legacy Motor Club hat. In that interview, discloses that he is now part of the ownership group of Legacy Motor Club. We all had to back up our DVRs and go, wait, what did he just say? Indeed, Darius Rucker is now a part owner of a NASCAR Cup Series organization. That took a lot of folks by surprise.
It did, but that's a good thing. A new owner coming into our sport, an ownership group, and somebody who has a wildly popular fan base that follows him along as well. As a matter of fact, that is currently a 2-car team. Let's hear from one of those 2 drivers now.
Yeah, that's Eric Jones, has the Dollar Tree colors on his Toyota Camry for Legacy Motor Club as he gets set to qualify here at Martinsville Speedway. Has 1 top 15 in the last 7 starts. But Eric, the boys were just talking about the surprise news of Darius Rucker joining the ownership group. So how special is that to have a name like him join Jimmy and everybody else at Legacy?
Yeah, that's cool. I'm a Hootie fan, so that was neat to see. But hope, we keep trying to grow this company, and Jimmy's got a vision for it, and on and off the racetrack. So hope we can show strong on the racetrack here in a couple of minutes, but Martinsville's been a challenging one for us in general, so I hope we can just qualify well here, but we just fought tight kind of in practice and figuring out the power and what that's like and what it's going to do in the long run, but it should be fun.
Short run here, though, in qualifying. How much of it is just full attack mode here?
Yeah, you think that, and then you end up missing the corner. It's a fine balance of trying to get some more out of it, but not asking too much, especially with how cold it is today. So you got to get it turning good and get the power down here. It's got to do a lot of things right to put a good lap together, but it's on the driver as well. So no mistakes and just keep it clean, no lockup, and see where you end up.
All right, that's Eric Jones. No mistakes. Guys, any Hootie and the Blowfish fans up there?
Yes, a lot of Hootie and the Blowfish fans up here. AJ Allmendinger just qualified 6th. Kyle Larson on lap 1, qualified 3rd. Question is, can he get faster on lap 2?
Across the line, checkered flag is out for Larson. He does. He'll go to 2nd, does Kyle Larson, just off of what Joey Logano's fast time was. So Logano still the best so far here in qualifying. That's now Kyle Larson 2nd, Justin Allgaier 3rd, Cole Custer 4th, and Riley Herbst sits currently 5th.
Austin Dillon takes his Richard Childress Racing Chevrolet up onto the racetrack. Todd Gilliland next to go. Also coming up, Bubba Wallace, Connor Zillich, Kyle Busch, Josh Berry, Zane Smith, and Michael McDowell of Spire Motorsports.
As Dillon goes down into turns 1 and 2, Richard Childress Racing has had some challenges this year, but confident in that race team and that organization that they will right the ship and start getting the results that we're used to seeing Richard Childress Racing get. Back to pit lane, Chris Wilner.
Austin Cindric getting ready to qualify the bright yellow Menards Ford Mustang. As we sitting right here on the pit wall, you get a really good sense of speed, but how was your car in practice?
Yeah, I thought it was fairly decent. Our Rich Menards Ford Mustang had some pace, short run, long run. I wouldn't say we were the best or the worst by any means, but it was good to feel it out. Obviously pretty cool conditions today, but should be similar tomorrow, so I think today's lap is going to be pretty important to set up a strong run for us.
Top 5 last week in Darlington. What does that do for this team that I know is certainly wanting to improve some of the results? That had to kind of taken a little bit of a fresh air approach to this team.
Yeah, I think you do enough times with enough fast race cars, it's bound to happen, so guys did a great job last week and looking to do it again.
All right, that's Austin Cindric. Can't wait to see what he can do here in qualifying in his Menards Ford Mustang.
Austin Dillon has just taken his Chevrolet to the 7th position out of 13 cars that have qualified. Green flag is flying. Todd Gilliland of Front Row Motorsports is pulling onto the racetrack. He'll take that Ford Mustang to the bottom of the racetrack in turns 1 and 2. Gets a good bite off the corner and then eases it now into the bottom of turn 3 and 4 to complete lap 1 of his 2-lap effort.
He lit up the brakes in turn 1 of lap number 1. Here he comes across the line. He'll begin his 2nd qualifying lap now. Gilliland 7th after lap number 1. Yeah, it's about rhythm with your feet. The right foot on the accelerator on and off, left foot on the brake, right hand on the gear shift, left hand on the steering wheel.
It is all a concerted effort as they are trying to put it all together. Joey Logano, the best one of them all right now. He paces qualifying. Todd Gilliland's second lap is over. He does not get faster on lap 2.
He'll stay in the number 7 spot at the moment, so Todd Gilliland will take his car back to the pit lane, and we focus on the Hardee's Toyota pulling onto the racetrack, and that's Bubba Wallace for very good reason. Bubba was the fastest in practice a little earlier today on single lap speeds. As Bubba comes up off turn number 4, he will take the green flag.
Bubba Wallace, a previous winner here in NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Racing, now with 2311 Racing here in 2026. He's off to a consistent start of the season. Of course, 2311 Racing has won 4 of the opening 6 races of the 2026 campaign. He was fast in practice on the single lap run. Lap 1 of his qualifying effort is over. He'll go 3rd overall. That's 19.480 seconds. That is behind Joey Logano's 19.389 second lap. Here's Bubba off turn 4. See if he can get faster on lap 2.
He drove hard into turn 3. The car went up the banking, and he had to really diamond the corner off, and Bubba Wallace will not improve. He'll stay in the number 3 spot right now, and in the order after 15 drivers have taken time. He sent it in. I think his word he used is ship down into the corner. We heard from him a moment ago. Well, he shipped her on into turn 3, didn't have the car stick to the bottom of the track, and it went up the banking.
It was not a return to sender exercise, but a delayed delivery, obviously, behind Joey Logano and Kyle Larson. Connor Zilic in Trackhouse Racing had speed in the opening round of practice. He's just taken the green flag, went to set the car down into turn number 1. She got away from him. He gathers it back up, trying to regain that lost speed. Lap 1, they're going to have to throw away. Let's see how this sets up for lap number 2.
So Connor Zilic brings it across the stripe as he begins his second qualifying lap. Zilic 15th of the 16 drivers that have taken time. Much more smooth up off turn 2 this time by for Zilic.
He'll ease it down into turn number 3. Choice privileges on the quarter panels of that Chevrolet Camaro for Trackhouse Racing here at Martinsville this weekend. Checker flag is up, and Connor Zilic across the line. He was 15th on lap 1. He'll move to 6th on lap 2 with a 19.536 second lap.
You know, as great of a season as he had a year ago as a rookie campaigner in the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, he came into the Cup Series this year in his first full-time effort with every spotlight available pointing directly on him. People had him penciled in to be a multi-time winner, and he may very well be when it's all said and done, when we wrap things up in Homestead Miami Speedway later this year. But right now, he looks like a rookie in the NASCAR Cup Series. You find out just how difficult it is at this level, the most difficult form of stock car racing on the planet in the NASCAR Cup Series. The competition is second to none.
Kyle Busch across the line to put lap 1 in the books of his qualifying effort. Lap 1 is going to put him 14th of 17 cars. He'll take that baby blue and white Chevy off the end of the back straightaway. Oh, and he sends it deep into turn number 3 as well. Looks like he may have a decent lap brewing here on lap number 2.
Let's see if Kyle Busch can improve from the 14th spot on lap number 1. Checkered flag is out for Kyle Busch. He will not improve. Kyle better on his first lap than he was on his second, so Kyle Busch will remain 14th, and they're going to have some work to do for tomorrow's Cookout 400.
Of course, mentioning earlier that his spotter, Derek Nealon, is at Hickory Motor Speedway right now. Going to run in the ARCA Menard Series East. He's racing for Pinnacle Racing Group tonight. He, along with Max Reeves and the full gentry of the ARCA Menard Series East, kicking off their 2026 season, the Cookout 200. Again, dial up the NASCAR channel, and you can catch all the action right there. Josh Berry has just taken the green flag. He is halfway down the back straightaway to complete his first lap.
Josh Berry into turns 3 and 4. Let's see where he ends up here. He was really good in practice earlier today. Josh Berry across the line. Lap number 1 is best. Josh Berry to the top of the leaderboard for the legendary Wood Brothers. He's digging for more on the backstretch.
19.384 seconds lap 1. That's 97.689 miles an hour. Here comes Josh Berry. Checker flag is waving for him in the start-finish line. His second lap of qualifying is complete. He'll go faster, 19.334 seconds. Josh Berry on the provisional pole here at Martinsville. Backtrack side to Steve Post.
Denny Hamlin down here getting ready to go out for his qualifying lap here. He has the Bob's Market color on the Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing down here. And see if we can catch a word with Denny down here as he's debriefing with his teammate Ty Gibbs. Denny, Martinsville Spring of 2026. What did you learn about your race car, and what do we have here this weekend?
Feel like it's pretty good. Definitely was a good Saturday. Definitely could feel the horsepower. That part was good, and certainly feel like in the long run our car was pretty good. So I think right now focused on trying to get somewhere in that top 8, try to get an opening here on pit road. That'll be key, and just you never know. But I do definitely feel pretty good about our Bob's Discount Furniture Toyota this weekend.
Well, if Denny Hamlin's feeling good about his race car, could be trouble for everyone else. He will go off qualifying here in just a moment.
To Chris Wilner.
Ty Gibbs was one of the fastest on single lap. Also looked really good in the long run for his Monster Energy Toyota as he debriefs with the crew. So we'll get a word in with Ty. Ty looked really good in practice. What do you think here in qualifying?
Yeah, we'll see what's going to happen. I feel like we've been strong here in the past in qualifying, so hopefully we'll have a good qualifying session here. And the track's kind of sensitive with the way the cars are, so I'm excited to see how our 54 Monster Energy does, and hopefully have a great starting spot compared to last week.
Good consistency to start the season. What is this doing for this 54 team? It seems like you guys are clicking.
Yeah, we're really solid. I have a great team, great group of guys around me, and we're really excited for today, or for tomorrow, and felt like we had some good speed today, so we'll see what we can do.
A lot of good speed, a lot of smiles for Ty Gibbs, who's still searching for his first top 10 here at Martinsville.
As we wait to get the last driver here just a moment ago, Zane Smith came across the line. He'll be 4th best. Good qualifying effort for Zane Smith. But Josh Berry at the moment is the fastest. Still about half the field still left to get their qualifying laps in. From Martinsville Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Action. You can now experience it all for free on the NASCAR channel on Tubi. Feel the adrenaline with a library of unforgettable races from Daytona to Talladega. It's a front row seat to NASCAR history. Best of all, it's completely free. Stream anytime, anywhere on your favorite fast platform. No fees, no strings, just NASCAR. Find the NASCAR channel on your streaming device and start watching today.
Inspiring story.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. comes back to the Daytona International Speedway. He will win the Pepsi 400.
I'm just the pilot, man. I just want everybody to be happy. I want to do good, and hopefully all of my dad's fans enjoyed this. This for all them.
Motor Racing Network's NASCAR Live presents podcast Junior's Journey. Jeff Gordon, a colorful career, 50 years of MRN, the 1993 season, the road to royalty, and more. Search for NASCAR Live on your favorite podcast platform.
Back here at the Martinsville Speedway, Josh Berry is the fastest so far in qualifying. Michael McDowell takes the green flag and begins his qualifying effort. Back to Chris Wilner.
William Byron is a 2-time winner here at Martinsville in the fall of 2025 and the spring of 2024. William, this morning you talked about Saturdays were the key. What did you learn about your car on Saturday and the speed of the Chevrolet?
Yeah, I think our Cincinnati Chevrolet's pretty good. It feels like I'm just a little bit biased towards one side of the balance today, but I think that should be good for tomorrow, so just got to be patient with it. Hopefully put down a good qualifying lap because that helped us in the fall, so it would be nice to score some stage points and kind of stay up towards the front.
That's William Byron again getting ready to qualify. Red, white, and blue Cincinnati Chevrolet for the 2-time Martinsville winner. Said this morning in the media availability with the folks in the media center, said we have got to focus on our Saturdays. We cannot be scratching our heads looking for clues to help us in getting set up for Sunday. So we'll see if they learned enough here this weekend to get William Byron a solid qualifying position for tomorrow's race.
Michael McDowell just took one lap of qualifying. He started his second lap and he clipped the outside wall going into turn 1. The car got a little discombobulated on him on corner entry. He immediately shut it down, and that first and only lap that he took is good enough for 6th of the 20 that have taken time so far.
Ross Chastain flies by the start-finish line, and Ross Chastain's lap 1 will move McDowell to 7th because Chastain goes to the number 6 spot. Ross digging for a little more to try to improve his potential starting spot.
He is hugging the curbing through turns 3 and 4, and here he comes to the start-finish line. Second lap in the books for Ross Chastain and Trackhouse Racing. He will stay in that 6th position. 19.457 on lap 1, 19.490 seconds on lap 2.
You know, Denny Hamlin a moment ago when Steve Post was interviewing him said he'd ideally like to be in the top 8 to find an opening on the pit lane. What he was talking about, and it's worth going back, you pick your pit box based off of how you qualify. And here at the Martinsville Speedway, on such a tight little racetrack, pit lane is even tighter. And these are among the smallest pit boxes on the entire circuit. So you'd like to get in the top 8 because there are 8 pit boxes that either have a free entrance in or a free exit out of the pit box to give yourself a little bit of an advantage. So being in the top 8 in qualifying means that you should be able to get yourself one of those good pit boxes.
Plus, not to mention, pit road speed is 30 miles an hour, and in the spring race last year, there were 8 pit road speeding penalties. So not only is it the smallest pit road, it is one of the slowest pit lanes, and because it's so tight, you really want to make sure that if you can grab one of those spots, you take them, because that's going to pay you dividends on Sunday when the green flag comes out.
Christopher Bell was 14th on lap number 1, and he jumps up the leaderboard to 3rd on lap number 2. Christopher Bell from Joe Gibbs Racing with the biggest improvement from lap 1 to lap 2 that we've seen all day today. Bell gets in the conversation now as far as a good pit selection. Still quite a few cars left to qualify, but Christopher Bell goes to 3rd now. It's Josh Berry, Joey Logano, Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson, and Zane Smith, your Fast 5. Steve Post.
Michael McDowell down here taking a look at some notes, taking a look at some times, and Michael, one and done, and you kind of got all of it out of that one, didn't you?
Not one and done on purpose. Just got loose in the one on that second lap, and I slid once and lost a little time. Then when I had a big slide second, it was like, okay, it's over now. But yeah, just a bit freer than I expected going out for qualifying, but yeah, we'll see where it stacks up. It's so close here at Martinsville. That could be 25th or 15th. I'm not sure where it'll end up.
Overall, though, how did you feel about the race car? More long-run speed. What'd you learn about it?
Yeah, we got things to work on overnight. There's no doubt about it. But everybody does. Track's going to change a lot tomorrow with the rubber. So, you know, today it's nice and cool out. You know, those 2 groups, it really feels different than what it is when you get into the race. So you get 70, 80 laps into the race, you'll know what you have and start working on it from there.
We shall see what happens. That's Michael McDowell down there. It was one and done, not by design. He got scuffed up the right side of his Chevrolet.
Chase Briscoe just put in the 13th fastest lap, Alex, in a lap where he looked like he was sawing about a cord of wood coming out of turn number 4. Those hands were sawing on the steering wheel coming to the line.
So many times in qualifying in the NASCAR Cup Series, we use the phrase, hold a pretty wheel. That was not holding a pretty wheel there for Chase Briscoe. He was really working hard inside the cockpit of that race car. Let's hear from Brad Keselowski.
Brad Keselowski going to make his 600th career Cup Series start on Sunday, a milestone that he said this morning kind of snuck up on him when kind of reflecting about his accomplishments over the course of the Cup season. So Brad getting ready to qualify. Brad, as you get ready to qualify, 600 starts tomorrow. You've got to reflect a little bit. What does it mean to you for that milestone tomorrow?
Yeah, it's really cool. Just to be in this sport, you get to run at the highest level and to have great race cars and teams through the years is an incredible opportunity, and you just want to make them count. So I'm glad to be here for 600 and trying my best to make sure I'm here for 800. But we got a race this weekend to make that happen, and we got to go out and prove ourselves every weekend.
Runner-up finish last week, 2 straight top 10s. Things are clicking. What is it like for you and this team? And now you get to go out late in qualifying, so that's got to be a bonus.
Yeah, it is a bonus. We got some really great momentum here with the 6 team, and really all 3 of the RFK cars, and that doesn't mean anybody's going to give us anything. We still have to go race and race hard, but it sure beats the alternative.
All right, that's Brad Keselowski getting ready to qualify. What a moment it'll be tomorrow with 600 career starts.
Brad Keselowski stopped by the offices of Motor Racing Network earlier this week, had a chance to sit down and visit with Brad. You'll hear a portion of that interview tomorrow in NASCAR Live Race Day, and you'll hear the full interview, 30 minutes worth, and we've talked about a lot of things in that interview. You'll hear that full Monty coming up on the next download of NASCAR Live Wide Open, available this coming Thursday. He talked about wanting to do 200 more Cup starts, Alex. If you do the math based on a 36-race schedule, he's got another 5.5 years of Cup racing to get to that 800th career start.
He's got the fire in the belly to continue on and racing at the highest of levels out there, and still has the desire to win races. So it wouldn't surprise me at all to have Brad with us, and I hope we do for another 5.5 or maybe even longer years in his Cup career. Eric Jones is qualified to the number 9 spot. Big surprise, a 1 lap and shutter down. Second fast overall, Shane Van Gisbergen got the best out of his race car in lap number 1, sent it into turn 1 on lap 2, and the car didn't stick. It went way up the racetrack. He knew he was not going to improve, went ahead and shut it down and brought it in. But lap number 1, SVG to second.
Ryan Preece has just turned in his first lap. That was good enough for 12th quickest. Ryan Preece now seeing if he can get a little more coming off the corner, going to get a good bite. And let's see what he does here crossing the start-finish line. Checker flag is waving for Ryan Preece. He will go to 8th as we go back trackside to Chris.
Well, the best dress of the weekend is certainly Carson Hocevar, another Chili's Ride the Dente special, the cowboy boots and everything. Is your car as fast as you look right now?
No, it's not. But hopefully we can keep working on it. We had a few issues like with the brakes that were, I don't know if they're broke or something going on, but we're just going to continue working. Hopefully we'll be all right. All starts with qualifying. If we can kind of help ourselves tomorrow and hold on, that'd be good for us.
And that's Carson Hocevar getting ready to buckle into his Chevrolet. Comes off his tied to the season best, 4th at Darlington, so a little momentum here with this Spire Motorsports bunch.
Chase Elliott on the racetrack. Here he comes across the line. White flag is out. Lap number 1 for Chase Elliott.
Chase Elliott, 4th overall, 19.392 seconds. 97.649 miles an hour. That is lap number 1. Here he comes, bottom of the racetrack. He's trying to take the top spot away from Josh Berry.
Here's Elliott. Checkered flag is in the air for Chase Elliott. Can he improve from the number 4 spot? The answer to that question is no. He'll stay currently 4th. Josh Berry is the fastest. Shane Van Gisbergen is second quick. Joey Logano currently 3rd. Chase Elliott 4th. Rest of the top 10, we'll see Christopher Bell 5th. Kyle Larson currently 6th. Zane Smith 7th. Bubba Wallace is 8th. Ryan Preece 9th. And Ross Chastain currently 10th.
After finishing 5th last weekend in the Goodyear 400 at Darlington Raceway, Austin Cindric has pulled his Menards Ford onto the racetrack. Green flag is in the air for Austin. That top 5 really gave that team a shot of momentum and a shot of confidence coming into this race. Let's see how he takes it through practice, takes it through qualifying as he's trying to take the pole from Josh Berry.
Here he is, white flag, lap number 1 for the aforementioned driver Austin Cindric. Good lap on lap 1. He'll be 3rd fastest as he exits turn 2 and rockets down the backstretch.
Got a lot of speed in that highlighter yellow Ford Mustang. Menards on the quarter panels. Here comes Austin Cindric out of turn number 4. The car steps out from underneath of him just a tad. He reins it back in. Austin Cindric will not get faster on lap 2, but he will slot in 3rd behind Josh Berry and Shane Van Gisbergen.
Qualifying will continue on. We're down to just about 10 drivers remaining here. Daniel Suarez, Denny Hamlin, Chris Buescher among those drivers to go out to get their qualifying laps, and we'll have it for you next. From Martinsville Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
We are the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Green flag goes in the air. The Daytona 500 is underway.
From Daytona to Homestead, catch all the exciting side-by-side passes for the lead of the NASCAR Cup Series.
Spectacular racing, round and round and round they go. Everybody 3 wide from front to back.
We are the voice of NASCAR.
Brad Keselowski up off of the corner. Ryan Blaney with a charge. Checkered flag is out. Ryan Blaney wins.
The Motor Racing Network.
NASCAR fans, iRacing Studios brings you NASCAR 25. Race hundreds of the biggest stars of the sport on top tracks from Daytona to Sonoma. Start your career in the ARCA Menards Series and work your way up to Cup while managing team members, sponsors, and more. Or compete online with NASCAR fans around the world. NASCAR 25, available on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. Head to NASCAR25.com to buy now.
back here at Martinsville Speedway before we put the next car on the racetrack. Let's hear from the driver who's currently second.
Yeah, that is Shane Van Gisbergen, second fastest right now. Shane, you had a really good first lap, and it looks like a handful in the second lap. Just kind of describe your qualifying run.
Yeah, it was certainly on edge, but really awesome. I think with the amount of guys left, we're going to be top 10, so that's amazing for us. Felt pretty good in practice, and then, yeah, got a lap down, so I'm stoked.
What's one of the things you've learned? What are a couple unique things about this racetrack that you've learned? Because it's like nothing on the planet.
Yeah, it's really tough at both ends. Especially as qualifying, a good feeling. You can hear the cars on the limiter into one, and I got it just on both ends, so meant I got a good run, and feels pretty cool to nail a lap here.
Pretty cool to nail a lap, that's for sure. Shane Van Gisbergen second right now, and we'll see if anyone can bump him back further back in the field, but I'd say pretty happy with that qualifying lap.
He is 5/1,000ths of a second behind Josh Berry, who paces qualifying with 10 cars to go. The final car to qualify today, Tyler Reddick, is with Chris.
Tyler Reddick getting ready to actually just already climbed aboard his Toyota. We were going to get a word with him after he had a really decent practice session, was working a lot with the brakes, so I wanted to ask him about that. But certainly all eyes will be on that 2311 machine. Again, going to go out dead last, be the final car to qualify here at Martinsville.
Daniel Suarez for Spire Motorsports will take his car down the back straightaway, sets up for turns 3 and 4 in his Chevrolet Camaro SS. Here he is up off turn number 4 for Suarez.
Daniel Suarez, that Chevrolet powering its way to the start-finish line. He will complete his first lap of qualifying in the 15th position. That's a 19.508 second lap, 97.068 miles per hour. Daniel dials up the low lane through turns 3 and 4. Let's see if he gets faster on lap 2.
See if he can get a good run up off of turn number 4 to the checkered flag. Suarez 15th on lap number 1. Daniel on lap number 2 will remain 15th, so he does not improve on his second lap. So 15th at the moment for Suarez.
Denny Hamlin's up next. He'll be followed by Chris Buescher, Ty Gibbs, William Byron, Carson Hocevar, Brad Keselowski, Ryan Blaney, and Tyler Reddick. Then qualifying will be over. Denny has just left pit road, and he's on a very, very slow warm-up lap, swerving the car from side to side, trying to get as much heat in those Goodyear tires as he possibly can as he comes to the green flag.
It's a cold day here in Martinsville, Virginia, as the green flag goes in the air indeed for Denny Hamlin. Orange across the hood and the rooftop of the race car. It is seafoam green down the sides of the car, bright yellow number 11 on the rooftop. Bob's Discount Furniture, the sponsor aboard Denny Hamlin this weekend as he exits turn 4 looking for lap number 1's time.
Denny Hamlin, white flag is in the air, lap 1 in the books. Denny will be 7th on lap 1. Alex speaks of how chilly it has been in Martinsville. We were teetering on 90 degrees yesterday. Got up this morning, it was 44 with a wind chill of 36. It's now 51 degrees here at Martinsville.
Here's the checkered flag out for Denny Hamlin, trying to climb the leaderboard a little more. He was 7th on lap number 1. Hamlin goes to the top. Denny Hamlin puts down the fastest lap in qualifying, saving the best for last on his second lap. It's 19.275 seconds, 98.241 miles per hour.
Now that's a lap around the Martinsville Speedway. Didn't really see a burst of speed in practice, but Denny, when everything is on the table, knows how to respond, and he did just that. Denny Hamlin is in position to pick up his 5th pole here at the Martinsville Speedway, but he has other customers at the back door. Next up, Chris Buescher. Right now, Chris exits turn 2 up the back straightaway. Thomas's English Muffins on the quarter panel with that orange and black livery, now exiting turn 4.
You know, I'm looking at numbers from this race 1 year ago. Christopher Bell won the pole for this race a year ago with a 19.718 second lap. That pole speed from 1 year ago would be 28th right now here just 1 year later.
The strides that these teams have made with this Gen 7 race car. Here's Chris Buescher. Lap 1 was 13th overall. He'll jump to 11th on lap 2. 19.446 seconds, 97.377 miles per hour.
That's a monster lap from Denny Hamlin, and he's just going to get out of the race car and kind of stand down there, fold his arms across his chest and say, all right, boys, what do you got? Ty Gibbs, his teammate from Joe Gibbs Racing, is taking the same approach. Very very methodically, big weaving of the car back and forth as he exiting the pit lane. Green flag is in the air for Ty Gibbs.
Ty Gibbs has made some strides forward here in 2026. Got a lot of top 5 finishes. We're seeing Ty become a part of the storyline of these races, and he hopes to be a part of the storyline tomorrow when the checkered flag flies in the Cookout 400. He sends it deep into turns 3 and 4, kind of diamonds the corner to complete lap number 1. Excuse me, white flag is up for Ty Gibbs.
Ty Gibbs across the line. He'll be third best right now after lap number 1 as he works his way down the backstretch, shifts from 3rd to 4th gear, under braking, pops his right hand off the steering wheel, shoves the gear shift upward. That one, the sequential gear shifter, puts it into 3rd. Big shake of the race car up off of turn number 4, and that will cost Ty Gibbs dearly. But his lap number 1 time is the one he will stand on of record. 3rd best for Ty Gibbs. It's Denny Hamlin, Josh Berry, Ty Gibbs, Shane Van Gisbergen, and Austin Cindric, the Fast 5.
Now the driver that won here last fall, the last time we were at Martinsville Speedway, William Byron crew chief Rudy Fugel celebrating in victory lane, taking home a grandfather clock. William Byron back here again in 2026. He has started his qualifying effort, trying to give Hendrick Motorsports their 31st win at Martinsville, but their first win of 2026.
Got to get a good qualifying lap in. That's task number 1. Byron right in the middle of the racetrack up off of turn number 4. Back on the loud pedal. White flag is out for Byron in lap number 1.
William Byron completes his first lap. It's good for second. 19.331. That is just a skosh behind Denny's 19.275 lap, and he's not even going to give lap 2 a go.
Yeah, he tried to get off turn 2 and got the car just a little sideways. He may have touched the wall up off of turn number 2 there, and he immediately rolled out of the throttle, knew it was not going to be a better lap, and brought it straight to the pit lane as we watched the car come back down the pit lane, looking at the right rear quarter panel. There might be a nick or two on the right rear of that race car. So his lap 1 is a good one. He'll be second best right now.
Carson Hocevar has pulled on to the racetrack. He had a good run at Darlington last week for Spire Motorsports, and he's driving a black, white, and red colored entry this weekend. He has eased the car down to the bottom of turns 3 and 4. Here comes Carson Hocevar, powering his way to the start-finish line in the white flag.
Lap number 1 for Hocevar is going to be 7th best for Carson Hocevar, and he's already off turn 2, headed for the backstretch.
Carson Hocevar wrapping up his 2 laps of qualifying for the Cookout 400. Again, it was 7th on lap 1 for Carson. The car swings a bit wide midway through the corner, and that's going to cost him a little bit of time as he comes to the start-finish line. Carson Hocevar will not get faster on lap 2, and for now will stay in the 7th position.
That'll leave us with 3 drivers left to take a qualifying lap. Brad Keselowski due up next, Ryan Blaney, and Tyler Reddick, the 3 drivers remaining to try to take a shot at Denny Hamlin to see who will be our pole winner for tomorrow's Cookout 400 as Keselowski comes up to speed.
He's driving the BuildSubmarines.com livery this weekend. He will take that car across the racetrack, a teal and black colored entry. Brad Keselowski, again, his 600th career NASCAR Cup Series start will come tomorrow here at the Martinsville Speedway. He enters turns 3 and 4 to complete his first lap of qualifying.
Yeah, he diamonds the corner in turns 3 and 4, comes back to the start-finish line. Lap number 1 is complete for Brad Keselowski. It is 21st on the leaderboard.
He's got a lot of work to do to get up that leaderboard to crack his way into the top 15 or the top 10. Brad's going to give it all he's got. He drives it deep into turn 3, keeps the car to the bottom of the racetrack. Checkered flag is waving for Brad. A bit shaky on corner exit out of turn 4, but he will complete his second lap and will stay in the 21st position. 2 cars left to qualify. Ryan Blaney, who had a lot of long-run speed in practice, and Tyler Reddick, who is trying to give 2311 Racing its 5th win of 2026. But first, here's Ryan Blaney taking his Ford Mustang up onto the racetrack.
Advance Auto Parts on board of this car. It's black on the majority of the top of the race car. Down along the lower third of the machine, it is yellow. He's got the red numbers on it. Here is the Advance Auto Parts Ford Mustang from Team Penske. It's Ryan Blaney, and that mustache of 2026 makes its way back to the start-finish line.
An impressive mustache it is.
It
Off
is.
the corner, white flag is waving for Ryan Blaney at the start start-finish line. Ryan Blaney, 11th on lap 1, 19.429 seconds. That's 97.463 miles an hour. Ryan still with his foot in the throttle is going to complete his second lap.
Good lineup off of turn 4. Let's see if Blaney, the back of the car kicks sideways off turn number 4. That will cost him some time. So Blaney will stay 11th right now with one driver still to qualify.
And that driver is Tyler Reddick. He's driving the Sirius XM Toyota Camry this weekend. Here he comes in that white and blue colored Toyota Camry. He is also swinging his Toyota from side to side at a reduced rate of speed, trying to get as much heat in those Goodyear tires as possible before he gets to corner entry. Jumps on the throttle as when he exits turn 4, the green flag will be waving to begin his 2 laps of qualifying.
2 pole positions already this season for Tyler Reddick. He did it at the road course at Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. He won the pole last week in the Goodyear 400 at Darlington Raceway. Here's Tyler Reddick in turns 3 and 4.
It has been a challenge at Martinsville. He is yet to finish in the top 5 at this track in 12 races. Let's see what he does on his 13th qualifying effort here at this racetrack. Ooh, 29th on lap 1, 19.609 seconds. That's 96.568. He needs a lot more to get up there and run with his boss man, Denny Hamlin.
Here he is up turn 4. It's either going to be Hamlin or Reddick on the pole for the Cookout 400. As the time comes across, it's a big jump for Reddick. He goes to 8th. Not enough. Denny Hamlin will win the pole position for tomorrow's Cookout 400. We'll hear from our pole winner when we come back. From Martinsville Speedway, this is the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
We are under the green flag.
Listen up, NASCAR fans. Now's the time to turn your love of racing into big-time prizes. Because NASCAR Fantasy Live is your fast lane to bragging rights.
Furious racing here.
Pick 5 drivers each week of the season. Then complete additional challenges to stack points. All for your shot at the grand prize.
So let's get this party started.
For official rules and to learn more, visit NASCAR.com/fantasy and sign up today.
Relive the thrills of over 50 years of NASCAR racing with the Motor Racing Network's Classic Race.
36th Annual Southern 500. They come down to the start-finish line. Bill Elliott and David Pearson get down.
We dig into the MRN audio vault for unforgettable races and moments.
Dale Jarrett's got the lead. Earnhardt's not going to get him. Dale Jarrett is going to win the Daytona 500.
Available on MRN.com and podcast platform.
Alan Kowicki out of turn number 4, the new Winston Cup champion. He does it across the line.
MRN Classic Races.
Back here at the Martinsville Speedway, Denny Hamlin has won the pole position for tomorrow's Cookout 400. Don't forget, coming up later today, as a matter of fact, at the top of the hour, 3 o'clock Eastern Time, it will be the NFPA 250 for the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Now, to Steve Post.
Hamlin down here celebrating with the crew. This one, we talk about 61 wins, 49th career pole position. That's pretty sporty. Did it here today at Martinsville. It seems like it looks like you got everything out of it. Did you?
No, I could go a little faster if I could do it again, but I think I'm going to let that one stand. I'm going to stand on my time on that one. But great job by the team making some adjustments, and felt like I was really aiming to be somewhere in the top 8 for qualifying. I thought that's where we could be, and so I was pretty conservative, doing what I needed to do to do that, but it was just good enough to get the pole there.
When you shared with us before you got in for qualifying how good you felt about the race car, what's the task like now, just to get ready to go and not overthink it, not overdo it, but make sure you're all buttoned up and ready to go tomorrow?
Well, nothing's a given, and if you think you're just going to do nothing overnight, you're crazy. You're just not going to have the car that you have tomorrow, what you had today. So we're going to have to make adjustments on it, and I think that we know exactly what to do.
Rest well.
All right, thank you.
Denny Hamlin, I mentioned rest well. I mentioned overnight. Last week at Darlington, we had Chris Gale on our crew call program this week. Chris Gale said Denny left Darlington after qualifying on Saturday, returned to the TRD simulator, and on Saturday evening spent 2 hours in the simulator for Toyota between Saturday and Sunday. So I don't think this is a team that's going to rest on their laurels or this pole position. I'm sure they're going to roll up the sleeves and see if they can make this car even better.
Denny Hamlin will try for his 7th Martinsville win tomorrow. He wins the pole. William Byron will start 2nd, Josh Berry 3rd, Ty Gibbs 4th, Shane Van Gisbergen qualified in 5th, Austin Cindric, Carson Hocevar, Tyler Reddick, Joey Logano, Chase Elliott are the top 10 qualifiers for the Cookout 400. Motor Racing Network and NASCAR Live Race Day on the air tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. We hope you'll join us. Coming up at the top of the hour, we'll have coverage of the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. We hope you join us then. For Steve Post and Chris Wilner, along with Alex Hayden, I'm Mike Bagley. Thank you for spending your Saturday afternoon with us here on the Motor Racing Network, where we congratulate Denny Hamlin and Joe Gibbs Racing, the winners of the pole for tomorrow's Cookout 400 here at the Martinsville Speedway. So long, everybody.